All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another epic CAD vs. CAD tournament. We are in the 2026 Winter Freeze, and we have got an outstanding show set up for everybody today. We've got some terrific models. We really have been going crazy with these models and trying to up the game a little bit here for the Winter Freeze, and we've gotten some great feedback from the audience saying they've really been enjoying these updated models and this kind of upper tier levels that we're getting to on some of these models. So I'm glad that we're hitting the sweet spot here as far as the models go, and I hope that you guys are enjoying the show. And as always, just before we get started, as we're getting a little bit warmed up here, I just want to give some quick shout outs here to some of the amazing members of the chat. So what's up to Regenerator, newer name here, welcome. First one in the chat. Lotos is here. Hello, my friend, and welcome. Ray AZ is here. Hello. Uncle Facepound says greetings from Northern California. Let's go. Already got the first model. That's what's up. And Scrap is here, says hey, and the Vicky Chong is holding it down, modding this chat today and keeping everybody in line. Atse is here today. Grapefruit is here today. We've got Serial Sal in the chat saying happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday indeed. Mr. Misa is here, says hello, everyone. Gold Darren is here. We're going to see him competing today. Ricardo Jean competing today. Let's go. And Mesa Makes says happy Friday from Mr. Mesa's third period welding class. Yo, that is what's up. And Mr. Mesa, I am rocking your Educate, Fabricate, Caffeinate mug here, and proudly, see if I can get it on screen here. Not going to be able to get it on screen. I am rocking Mr. Mesa Makes his mug here as we are getting our caffeine fix in. And Will the Bill is here, says good luck, everyone. Yes, indeed. Good luck to all our runners today. And Berserk is here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Kegel 3D is here. Welcome. And of course, Guntus is here. And so we are officially ready to begin. So guys, I want to say thank you all so much. We couldn't have such an amazing setup, an amazing live stream, an amazing community without all of you in the chat. But we also could not have such an amazing tournament live stream without our fantastic co-commentators. And today we've got a very special co-commentator joining us. Guys, if you could please put a 1 in the chat for the founder of Solidbox, the president of Solidbox. He's a Sherbert enthusiast. Welcome, Chris Castle. Hello, my friend, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Toby, it's so great to be here. It's kind of surreal. It's like feels like it's been forever since this started, and like I just can't believe where it's gotten to. I just showed my cousin, my nephew, who I'm teaching how to use CAD right now. I showed him the last video from the tournament, And when I saw the model, I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, this has gotten to a whole different level of complexity. And I have a feeling that today you're going to take it up even to an even higher level with some of these challenges. So it's going to be very fun.
Well, we definitely have been stepping it up with the models, and we couldn't do any of that without our amazing sponsors. And I gotta say, Solidbox has been one of the longest-term sponsors of Too Tall Toby. Chris, you were there with me right in the very beginning. I remember you reached out to me and you said, "Toby, what you're doing is so cool. It's so cool what you're doing with the community, and we want to be a part of that." And so I just wanted to take a moment here as we're getting started and just ask you to maybe let the audience know a little bit about what Solidbox does and how they can get in touch with you and how they can utilize your services.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. So the real quick story about Solidbox is like this. 20 years ago, I was doing tech support, helping people with SolidWorks installations, and it was always mind-blowing like how difficult it was to install this software and get it right. And it got a little bit better, right? And then it just, there's all these complexities to just getting that thing to work properly and to be stable. So back in 2009, when Windows 7 came out, my buddy and I just kind of made our own version of Windows 7 at the time. It was just when Windows 7 had come out. So we made our own version of the Windows 7 environment so it would play very well with SolidWorks. And that was kind of the beginning. We started to understand benchmarks and how to get the most performance out of SolidWorks on a PC. And that's how the company got started. We worked with Dell and all these other companies that sold hardware, but it was our secret sauce that we would put on top of this, good platform of hardware, and it just made SolidWorks more stable, a little more reliable, a little more fun to work with, and we've been doing it for now. We're on our 16th year, or I'm sorry, it's going to be 2009. So this will be our 17th year of being in business. It's crazy. We love to sponsor the user groups. We like to go in person and do these kinds of things where we teach people how to use SolidWorks. So that's what our business is all about. It's like give somebody a reliable platform to do your work on, and hopefully you can make some money doing that, right? And
so the ideal customer that would be reaching out to you would be users, professional level CAD users who are trying to get a stable environment from their CAD system. They're going to go out and they're going to buy some new computers. They can reach out to you and your team, and you guys can figure out what exactly they need, dial it in perfect for what their needs are, and then you're able to provide them with that hardware.
Correct. So basically that's where we're at, this many years later is where we just keep our hands on the pulse of like, what is the best hardware for SolidWorks, right? Which components are actually making a difference with your experience. And so when you go to our website, you'll see configurations that we built that are like tried and tested. And the idea is like, hey, you tell us the kind of work you do in SolidWorks. Are you a heavy simulation user? Do you do a lot of CNC tool path creation on your PC as well? Do you have like 20 spreadsheets open? Do what's your situation? And from that, we can pretty much give you the best solution and get your system totally dialed in. So when it shows up to when it actually arrives, at your doorstep, it's already ready. It's got all the software installed. We worked with you ahead of time to make sure that it's going to show up the way you want it.
Very cool. Very cool. And that's what you like, right? Is the simulation stuff. I know that you're a heavy flow simulation guy.
Yeah, I'm actually working right now on a concrete silo to help design it so it can handle these crazy seismic loads. And it's crazy because it's cool. Like it's a whole different world. But it's crazy that you can do all this stuff on a laptop now. Yeah. I'm simulating this whole huge concrete silo and steel structure on a laptop. It's crazy. Wow. So yeah, we like to do that kind of stuff here.
That's awesome. And you're a professional engineer as well?
Yeah, so our company is we're first and foremost really an engineering services company where we help train people how to use these simulation products. So since 2005, we've when somebody buys a really cool simulation package like SolidWorks simulation, or maybe some of the Autodesk products or like Abacus, whatever you name it, we know how to use it. But we try to teach our customers how to use those programs to analyze things. And the sad thing is that what they taught you in school, or college, how to do a lot of these calculations and things like that. Like anyway, you basically can do all that now. Anybody can do that now. You don't have to be some super degreed person, all these credentials. everybody can use these programs to really get a good idea, like, is this gonna even work, right? So it's pretty cool what's out there right now.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that a lot of times, I'm glad that you had a chance to kind of intro Solidbox a little bit more like that, because I know a lot of times, one of the biggest services that I've used, both myself and also in companies that I've worked for in the past, is acquiring the hardware from you, getting computers that just work as soon as you get them out of the box. But you have this whole other arm of Solidbox where you're able to provide consulting, provide training, and provide engineering services for these companies. And I think a lot of times our customers need to know about that, because our customers sometimes in-house run out of those resources. They don't have the expertise in-house to help out with those kind of complex simulation challenges. So it's always good to know that they've got a resource that they can rely on with the Solidbox team.
Well, thanks for letting us make our pitch there. Yeah. But the thing I'm excited about here is I'm hoping that one day, what you're doing for CAD, making it competitive, making it real fun, and really helping people understand that it's truly like a very fun and rewarding skill to have. I'm hoping that we can do this for simulation. I don't know how we're gonna do it yet.
Let's go.
But I think we can figure a way to gamify optimization of a product, right?
Oh, yeah,
so
I like
we'll talk about that in the future, okay?
Yeah, I like it. Well, listen, guys, everybody in the chat is very impressed with your credentials, but I think they're more impressed with this picture of you holding the baby and how the baby is looking at that ice cream. That is like true joy there, that baby seeing that ice cream. So it's an awesome picture, man. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that was my baby's first introduction to Mexican candy. No. That's called a mangolada, and you only get on the border of Texas, and so that was her first moment of experiencing that joy.
That is pure joy, exactly. All right, well, listen, guys, let's get into it here. We've got some awesome models set up, so if you guys are enjoying what you're seeing so far, if you're ready to see some epic CAD versus CAD, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to share and reshare. You can reach out to your network right now. You can text your entire network. Even if it's just your grandma who's on that text chat, just make sure that you message everybody that you know. Let's see if we can break 100 live viewers today. Let's see if we can get above that 100 mark for this live. And, of course, be sure to hit the like button on this live stream. Be sure to engage in the chat. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what you like doing in 3D CAD. And as always, the super chat is open. We tend to get a lot of super chat contributions during these tournaments. And so if you have the financial means and you want to continue to support the channel, this is a great way to help make sure that these tournaments continue moving on. So what we got to see last week was we got to see our former tournament winner, Matab from Bangladesh, take it down against newcomer Jaden Hernandez. Jaden was an inventor user, a youngster, I think still in high school or maybe first year in university. And we saw that Matab, the experience, came through there, and Matab was able to finish those models. But Chris, it was not easy. They were not able to complete one of the models. One of the models stumped both of them, and they were not able to complete it. So it was a push. So we got to see 3 battles between those guys. And then we moved over to the second half of the show. We saw newcomer M, who was using plasticity. And it was a lot of fun to see plasticity in action. It's got some really, really cool functionality. The ability to push and pull surfaces was something that I had not really seen before. But again, it was Dom. And again, it went to 3 matches. These models are not easy in this tournament. So it went to 3 matches, but it was our number 6 seed, Dom, who loves fishing and hunting and being outdoors. And every time I see a picture of Dom, he's holding a fish. He's got a big smile on his face, and I just love that. So it was Dom who was able to move on. So we had 2 SolidWorks winners last week, and now we move into today's matches. Now, originally we were going to have Andrew going up against Gray. Unfortunately, Andrew was unable to continue with the tournament. He ran into some scheduling issues. So we had our old friend of the show proactively reach out. We were in like kind of the final 48 hours here. We reached out to several of the alternates from the qualifiers, and none of them got back to us. And then unprompted, Atse reached out and said, hey, I saw there's a question mark on the bracket. If you need a competitor, I'll step in. So we reached out to Gray. We made sure it was okay with Gray because Atse is no slouch. He's been in the semifinals multiple times, but Gray was okay with it. Gray is an awesome member of the community and said, that's fine. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'll take on anybody. So we got Atse from North Macedonia going up against Gray here from Russia. That's going to be the first match we're going to see today. And then in our second match, we're going to see Darren, newcomer Darren from the UK, using Fusion, and he's going to be going up against RICARDO Jean. Now, RICARDO Jean has won 2 tournaments in the past, and Ricardo Jean is currently our world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling. So if Darren can take this one down, it's going to be the upset of the year. And I know that everybody is excited to see it. As much as we love Ricardo, I know that everybody's actually rooting for Darren because everybody loves to root for the underdog. And so those are our matches that we're going to be seeing here today. And we're going to get into this in just another moment or two. Of course, our runners are competing for some awesome prizes from 3D Connection. And they're also competing to get on the wall of champions. You can visit us at tootalltoby.com/tournaments, and you can learn all about the previous runners. In the chat, we see Richard is saying, hey, no pressure, Darren. Yeah, no pressure, no pressure. And so Darren says, I'll try to give him a run for his money. Yeah, very nice, very nice. And of course, we couldn't do these tournaments without our amazing community, but we also could not do these tournaments without our amazing sponsors. And we've got a couple of sponsors returning for this tournament, returning from last year. And one of those sponsors is Xometry. If you've never worked with Xometry before, what Xometry really specializes in is taking your vision and making it real. That's really what they're able to do. You're able to bring your designs to life with Xometry. They provide a service called Manufacturing on Demand, which means that when you provide Xometry with a 3D model, they give you a way to create fast parts. Sorry, they provide a simple, fast way to create custom physical parts from those 3D models. So when you create 3D models, you can go to their site, you can upload it. They've got a really nice instant quoting engine that you can use. So right from their homepage, you can upload your models. And once you upload your models, you're going to see that you can get them manufactured in a wide range of manufacturing processes, including 3D printing, CNC machining, sheet metal fabrication. And of course, they're going to be using the highest quality materials, including aluminum 6061, stainless 304, ABS, nylon, and more. So Xometry is really an excellent service if you're, especially when you're in those beginning phases where you're prototyping and you're just trying to get one or two things made. But it's also great when you need multi-part runs. Maybe you don't have a manufacturing team in-house and you're looking for a nice, easy solution. Well, Xometry.com has you covered for that as well. And I always like to play this video from the team over at Hypershock. You know, my son and I watched a lot of BattleBots. We watched every season. We're still waiting for that next season to come out. It's been a couple of years. I don't know if the company's just taking a long break, if they're coming back, but we're crossing our fingers hoping that they're coming back. And one of the teams that competed regularly was the Hypershock team, and they were able to get a lot of value from Xometry, from the services at Xometry. So let's just take a quick look at this video here and see what they learned from working with Xometry.
Hi, I'm Will Bales.
And I'm Alex Bales. Together, we engineer crazy fighting robots. Getting custom parts is key to everything we do.
That's why we choose Xometry to get on-demand custom manufacturing for prototyping and production.
They offer dozens of processes like 3D printing, CNC machining, and sheet cutting.
Plus, Xometry's huge network creates massive capacity for production and reliable supply chains.
Get started with Xometry today.
Xometry, where big ideas are built.
And so I just, like I said, I just think that's such a cool video. It shows how, you know, they were able to get parts made out of steel. They were able to get sheet metal parts. They were able to get 3D printed parts, and all from that one service. And right now, just for you, just for all of you out there who are watching, Xometry's running a special. You can use coupon code Toby20CAD. And when you use this coupon code, you can get a maximum discount of up to $200, 20% off your first order, and a maximum discount of up to $200. And that's valid through the end of February this year. So if you're looking to get some of your first parts made, this is a great way that you can get those parts made and save some money. And you can take a look down below in the description for all the details about that offer. But it's coupon code Toby20CAD, up to $200 off on your first order. And that's a 20% off coupon at Xometry.com. Chris, have you ever worked with the guys over at Xometry?
You know, I've seen their products for years because I've been at, you know, these trade shows. I've met people that have gone through that process, and they're like, it's, you know, pretty crazy how quickly the turnaround is. It's kind of like, it's almost like 3D printing, you know, on demand, but with, you know, with with machine parts. It's crazy. I priced something out when they first became your sponsor. I think I priced something out that I just happen to have on my, like, you know, because they have the whole interface where you can just upload the part,
the instant
to
quoting
their
engine.
site. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Anyway, it was pretty neat. I was shocked how quickly they gave me a price, and you know, and it's like they have some sort of intelligence. They kind of know, like, hey, this is going to be made out of sheet. You know, they kind of know what the stock material is going to be.
Exactly.
So giving you pretty accurate
yeah,
quotes.
and they even have, I made a video on this. If you guys want to check it out on my YouTube channel, I made a video on this. The instant quoting engine also has some design for manufacturing checks. So in the video that I made, I showed how there were some sharp corners that really needed to be radii'd for the end mill so that the end mill could get in there, and it recognized that just from the upload of my model. So I've got some videos. Just search the Too Tall Toby channel for Xometry. You can see those videos. I also showed how the pricing can be very different depending on if you're getting one or if you're getting multiple. So when I was getting one, it was like $600 per part, and then when I increased my quantity to 15, it dropped down to like $52 a part. You know, so of course, like when you're doing machine setup, the more you do, the more you can do in batch, the cheaper it's going to be per part. So that's also a really good and important strategy. You know, if you're ever trying to get quoting, you know, take a look at how much it is for one, but also take a look at how much it is per part for 10 or for 20. You know, and that might help you decide when it's appropriate to actually place the order. Maybe it's better to wait a little bit until you need 20 and then place the order, and you can save some money per part. So these are all things that are pretty common in the world of manufacturing, and Xometry does a great job of communicating some of those things to newer users. And then, of course, our other return sponsor, Solidbox. Have you ever heard of them, Chris? Solidbox?
Well, yeah, you know,
fantastic company.
It's meant to be to go. You know, we fit together so perfectly because you remember when we first met each other, right? It was like we remember how we started our relationship. I think I heard you were doing this, and I'm like, no, we were gonna do that, you know. And I was like, of course you were gonna do that. No, you actually did it, and I was so happy that you finally gamified CAD that I was like, count us in into, you know, on anything you want to do. We knew you know, you had the vision and the personality to pull it off, you know. But that's the true story of our background, or our backstory, right? Is that we had thought kind of the same idea about gamifying CAD.
Dude, Chris and I have always had this kind of like bond, this like almost spiritual bond, and it's, you know, it's been really fun to watch, and it's been really fun to develop. And I remember like when we first met in person, you were like, hey, how about if you just drive across the country and we'll spend a month together in Texas and just visit random cities? And I was like, all right, let's do it. And like it just felt like the right thing to do. Yeah. Now, Chris, I apologize. I'm just noticing this now, but on your camera, if there's any way you could zoom in your camera, like on your end, I've got it zoomed in on my end, but because it's because of a technical limitation on my end, if you can zoom it in on your end, like just zoom it in a little closer on your face, because I'm kind of cropping out a lot of your arms and your background. Your background does look awesome. I love seeing the guitars and everything in the background. I feel bad cropping it out, but
no, you're good.
I just want to make sure that the audience can see your face and see you're coming through a little blurry there. That's my bad. But I'll
work on that.
Yeah, if you can work on that, and I'll tell everybody else about Solidbox. If you're just tuning in, you guys don't know about Solidbox. What Solidbox does, they've been sponsoring the channel for a long, long time, and they provide professional CAD workstations for professional CAD users. And what this means is that Solidbox helps users get up and running fast by providing custom builds of servers, desktops, laptops, and laptops for SolidWorks users. And the way that they're able to do this is they're able to create a nice customized build of Windows, a fully optimized build of Windows with all the bloatware stripped out so that you don't end up with all that extra stuff that you really don't need. They go through, they tweak things like the BIOS, the settings in the BIOS, they tweak some of the other things, and they really do their best to kind of make sure that as soon as you get that computer out of the box and onto your desk, it's just ready to go. I mean, there's been so many times where I've bought new computers, and then the very first assembly I load up in SolidWorks, SolidWorks is like, sorry, you don't have enough memory, or you're running out of memory on this, or you're running critically low on resources. And it's so frustrating when you spend $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 on a computer. It's really frustrating when that happens. So definitely a really good service if you're ever in that spot where you're looking to get some new hardware. And the way that they're able to do this is they've got a skilled and experienced support team of hardware experts. And I got to say, one of the biggest testimonials about Solidbox is that customers usually become customers for life. Once they work with that team one time, they're like, this is the team we want to work with. And then, of course, we talked about this earlier, but just in case anybody wasn't on the call earlier, the team is Chris and the team over at Solidbox also provide a range of engineering services, training services for CAD users. And is that just for SolidWorks, or is that for any CAD, Chris?
No, it's pretty much any simulation or CAD. You and I have worked on a lot of educational content, right? We made a lot of stuff for these different purveyors of CAD. So yeah, we try to make a point of knowing all the CAD software, because that helps you translate, right? how you would do this in this software to this one, you know. So it really helps. That's what's really cool about this channel, right? Too, is you're really showcasing all the CAD. It shows all the good and bad.
It's awesome. Yeah. So if anybody needs anything, any engineering services, simulation services, training services, or of course, professional CAD hardware for professional CAD users, reach out to the team at Solidbox. They are absolutely an amazing team. And Chris, I'm reading through the chat here, and I noticed that one of the comments said, Chris, no offense, but could you move over so I can see your guitars? Thanks. So we'll just slide this over here so you can see these guitars. Get Chris out of the frame. So yeah, there you go, Uncle Facepound. Those are the guitars there. So very nice, very nice. Love this community. All right, guys, let's get into it. Thank you again so much. We could not have these tournaments without our sponsors. What are the guys competing for today? They're competing for some epic prizes from our sponsor, 3D Connection. If you haven't worked with 3D Connection before, you can visit them at 3dconnection.com. They provide a wide range of peripherals for 3D CAD users for zooming, rotating, and navigating your software faster. One of the best things about the 3D Connection products is all the macro capabilities, the ability to program in hotkeys and macros to all the different keys that they've got on their peripherals. So if you haven't had a chance yet, just slide on over to 3dconnection.com. Vicky will drop a link into the chat as well. And of course, you can visit 3dconnection.com. They're going to be putting up some prizes. We'll announce those prizes next week. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to sign up for a free account over at tootalltoby.com. Be sure to share and reshare. And guys, let's get into it. In today's CAD vs. CAD battle, we're going to take two experts from around the world. So for example, we're going to take Ivan the Reasonable from Canada. We're going to pit him up against Aaron C. from the United States. We're going to show them and all of you a 2D drawing. So everybody in the world is all at the same time going to see this 2D drawing. Our runners are going to see it, and all of you are going to see it as well. And once we create this 2D drawing, we're going to ask our runners to attempt to turn that 2D drawing into a 3D model. They're going to share their screens with us so we get to see all the action. And then using the information down in the title block, they're going to try to calculate the mass of this model. Now, just a quick warning to our runners, we are using the newer materials, the American Cherry and the 6061 aluminum. However, those materials use the same density as red oak, and they use the same density as the 1060 aluminum that we've used in the past. We just made the switch over at the beginning of the year, but just notice that it's the same densities, and you can learn more about that at tootalltoby.com/materials if you want to see all of the material densities that we use here in the tournament. But again, guys, if you see American Cherry as the wood and you're using red oak, that's fine. It's got the same density. You're good. 570 kilograms per cubic meter. So our runners are going to try to calculate the mass of these models, and our runners are going to try to enter that mass directly into the YouTube chat. And what will happen is the first runner to successfully enter the correct mass will earn a point. And they'll get a little point here, and then we'll go on to the next battle. Now, you have to win 2 points if you want to advance to our final four for this tournament. And if you get the answer wrong, Chris and I are going to say to you, I'm sorry, that answer is incorrect. And we're going to say, could you please try again? Could you go through? Can you look at your model? Can you see if you can figure out what you did wrong? And can you please try to answer correctly? Now, if the runner answers a second time incorrect, then that's going to be it. They're not going to be able to answer again. And then, of course, we're going to bring out the Clock of Doom. And I just noticed in the chat, Gold Darren said, over 100 people watching. Let's go. We made it. We made it to our goal. Looks like we've got, on my screen, we've got 99, but I think we're right on that cusp, and we're just going to keep on going as the tournament proceeds. Don't forget, guys, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, let them know what we're doing. They can join in as well. Now, remember, we're going to show this drawing to everybody, including all of you. All of you are going to see this drawing at the same time. So if you're out there and you're watching, you can absolutely play along. When we show the drawing, you can do a screen capture of the drawing. You can move that over to your second screen, and you can start modeling in your CAD system. Maybe you can see if you're faster than these professional runners. But the thing is, please do not help. Please do not help the runners. So don't go into the chat and say, here's the answer. The answer's, 67 grams. Okay, don't type that into the chat. And also, please don't type any hints or anything into the chat. Okay, we want the runners to have an equal opportunity for both of the runners. These guys are the stars today, so let's let them shine. So don't type in the chat and say like you're missing a fillet or anything like that. Okay, if somebody's missing something, you're gonna hear Chris and I are just gonna keep quiet. You might say, I see what he's missing. That's fine if you want to say something like that. or if you solve the model before everybody else, we've got a saying that we can say in the chat. I'm going to let everybody in the chat say it, but we've got a special saying. It's a kind of a secret saying that we do when we're working on the model on our own, and we get it before everybody else. What's something that we could type in the chat? You guys in the chat help me out. The regulars can type it. Vicky knows what we say. We say, I got it. Exactly. You say, you forgot to fill. No, that's not right, Serial Sal. That's right. You say, I got it. Exactly. You got it, black collar friend. That is correct. Yeah. You say, I got it. Sal tricked me. Yes. You say, I got it. That's exactly right. All right. So that's how you can let people know. It's kind of how you can flex a little bit. You can say, I got it. And if neither of the runners get it, then I'll give you a chance to answer. But we're going to make sure we let these runners shine today. Does that all sound good to you, Chris?
Sounds great.
All right. Well, listen, let's get into it here. Our first match is going to be between Gray, our random seed. We don't know really what his seed place is. And, Otse, our random seed, and Gray, our number 1 seed. Man, this is going to be a good match. So good luck to both of our runners. And one thing that we do before we get started is we just give these guys a nice simple challenge as a practice. So this is a practice. This lets us do a tech check. It lets us make sure that Chris and I have everything in line as far as the technical side of things go. And we make sure that, there's nothing is out of line. We're not overlooking anything, and that we can see everything, that all the frames look good, that everything looks good. So here we go. We're going to do this very first practice battle for our runners here in... Make sure I got this ready. Okay, here we go. We're going to do our very first practice model for our runners here in 3. Wait, let me turn down the music so we can get the hype music going. In 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. So what is the mass of this part? That's the question here. What is the mass of this part? And we're trying to figure out what is the mass of this part in XXX grams. And so both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture of this 2D drawing, and they're trying to turn this into a 3D model. This is using the American cherry as the material. So this gives us a chance to make sure that we've got our materials set up correctly. And we're just going to get the tech check here, make sure that we can see Chris in this video. Here we go. Get him nice and sized in here. There we go. You look good there. All right. Make sure the chat looks good as well. Let's get the chat in the right spot here. This is why we do the tech check. We make sure that we got everything ready to go.
I wonder how many has anyone ever successfully done this competition with a single monitor?
I think so.
Probably not.
I think we've seen that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I think we've seen that. All right, so if we look at the chat, wow, look, we see Name CZ says, whoa, Gray, fast. So Gray got in there and typed in the answer, 680. And it looks like Otse, now we've seen Otse have this problem before. It looks like Otse was struggling to get his mass to actually come up. I didn't see his mass show up in the chat. I saw Gray get in there and get that thing modeled up really quick, but I didn't even see Otse get it. Berserk says, I don't got it. Nice. And Gold Darren says, I am on a single monitor. We're going to see him compete a little bit later today. So there you go, Chris. Ask and you shall receive.
All right.
Yeah, that's what we like to see. But I'd say maybe just maybe continuing this tech check here, just make sure that you are, in fact, able to enter your answer. Yeah. Imagine having a monitor. Nice. Enter the mass, 627. Okay, good. All right, came through that time. It didn't come through for me the first time. And I just want to make sure that we don't run into any issues here. We've spent so much time trying to get these models ready, and I'm very excited to see how these guys do. And Chris, you've seen the models, so you know kind of what's at stake here. But
that's why I'm here.
Yeah,
I want to see the carnage.
I want to see how they do it. Yeah.
It's going to be a rough one, I think.
And we've got some really amazing runners here, but the thing is, we don't even know. You and I don't even know what the models are going to be here. Nobody in the audience knows. You and I don't know. You and I kind of know what the library of models look like, but we don't know who's going to get what, and we don't know what order they're going to come in. And the only way that we can resolve this ambiguity, the only way we can resolve this challenge, is to turn to the Wheel of Fate. And what the Wheel of Fate is it's a randomizer that we use to kind of randomize out the drawings. And one thing that we always do when we're bringing up the Wheel of Fate is we ask our audience to see if they can prove their clairvoyance. So you can see here on the Wheel of Fate, we've got challenge numbers 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm going to give these things a shuffle here, but if you guys in the chat want to challenge yourself, prove your clairvoyance. We can see that Rock Crawler's coming in right away. He thinks it's going to be drawing number 10. Serial Sal thinks it's going to be drawing number 12. Guntis thinks it's going to be drawing 11. Castlehoff, Chris Castle thinks it's going to be drawing 11. Gray thinks it's going to be drawing number 7. Imagine if you had clairvoyance and you were able to compete in the tournament. That would be quite the advantage. So we can see here that everybody in the chat is trying to guess what the challenge is going to be. And while they're doing that, I just want to say thank you to our sponsor for the Wheel of Fate, Plasticity. And last week we got to see Plasticity in action. We had a runner, M, who was actually competing using Plasticity. So it was really cool to see it kind of trying to solve these more real world type shapes. But Plasticity provides advanced in Class A surfacing to sculpt beautiful production ready geometry. It's also got fantastic interoperability and direct editing capabilities so that you can do your modifications in Plasticity and then export it directly into your existing CAD workflow. So it's not like you have to, learn Plasticity and then abandon your old CAD system. You can use it as a tool to augment your existing capabilities. And Plasticity offers no subscriptions, so you own the tools, no strings attached. And if you want to learn more about Plasticity, you can visit them at plasticity.xyz. And Plasticity has been our sponsor for the Wheel of Fate during the last tournament, and they're sponsoring again this tournament. Pretty cool piece of software there.
Did I hear that right? You own the software, no subscriptions?
It says no subscription, own your tools, no strings attached.
Sign me up.
Yeah, let's go. So, guys, let's get into it here. We see that we've had some other people as we've been chatting here. Kegel thinks it's going to be 7. Gold Darren thinks it's going to be 1. Vicky thinks it's going to be 11. Mr. Misa thinks it's going to be 9. 3D Duo thinks it's going to be 7. Neem CZ thinks it's going to be 7. Multi Gibson thinks it's going to be 3. Gold Darren thinks it's going to be 10. And John is in the chat. What's up, John G? Thinks it's going to be 7. And Bruno thinks it's going to be 8. And David Thiessen thinks it's going to be 12. Oh, and Bruno, revising, doesn't think it's going to be 8 anymore. Retracted his message. Wow, that's strong. Man, he's got the feeling. All right, and Will the Bill thinks it's going to be 10. And John G says, good morning. Guys, I'm going to give this a couple more shuffles. Shuffle, 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 and spin. What does the Wheel of Fate have in store for our runners for this very first battle? Let's find out. So it looks like, all right, looks like it's going to be drawing number 9. I think this is a perfect way to get things started here. Drawing number 9. Good luck to our runners. And I'm going to remove that from the wheel, so that one is no longer going to be selected. I'm going to remove the wheel from the screen here, and we're going to move on and learn just a little bit about our runners. And Chris, maybe you could help us out here a little bit, and you can tell us a little bit about these runners while the production team is getting the next challenge ready.
Sure. But by the way, I'm really curious. So Ase is a wild seed, right? And so what happens if he wins? I mean, is he in the continues? I'm really curious.
Well, let's not put the cart before the horse. He's got a very tough competitor against the number 1 seed Gray. So let's see what happens. But of course, Ase does have quite a bit of experience.
Okay. Well, so he's been using 3D printers for 16 years. And he finally has one at home now, I guess. The printer hasn't stopped printing ninjas. Oh, it sounds like he's got kids like me.
Yeah.
Instead of ninjas, I print out dinosaurs and unicorns.
Nice.
In Gray, well, this is interesting. So I didn't realize he's been in here this is his 4th time.
Yep. 4th time in the tournament.
So, yeah. So, and I'm surprised that it's a SolidWorks against SolidWorks battle, actually. Because this is this is quite interesting. So what are we thinking here, Toby? You thinking that
I'm thinking it's gonna be
just being able to come off the bench like this is gonna be able to
I'm thinking it's gonna be a good battle. He's I think he's gonna do fantastic with this thing. I think Gray, is super skilled at doing these speed runs. Even in his fun facts, he says, I'm very inattentive during championships, but very good at speed runs. So we'll see what happens. And these challenges today, we've got a lot of detail in some of these challenges. So I think it's gonna be important to be attentive to those details. But I think he might also be underselling. You can see he's a number 1 seed. He's been in the semifinals. He's been in the quarterfinals. He's been, he runs deep in these tournaments. So Gray is I can't wait to see these two guys battle. I think they're very evenly matched, and I think it's going to be awesome. We see in the chat that Aptem says Gray is the best engineer. Yo, that is what is up. And D Vicky Chong says don't underestimate Gray. So yeah, I don't think anybody's underestimating Gray. He's the #1 seed in this tournament, and I think it's going to be epic. And I think we've probably said enough. I think we're ready. So
Do it.
It looks like both of our runners are ready. I'm ready. You're ready. Guys, good luck to both of our runners. This very first CAD vs. CAD battle of the day between Atse from North Macedonia running SolidWorks going up against Gray from Russia running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go! What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? The tolerance is plus or minus 2 grams. This part is a low poly tree, And you can see that this part is made from American cherry with a density of 570 kilograms per cubic meter. Both of our runners have already grabbed a screenshot. Let's jump over and take a look at this CAD vs. CAD battle. We've got Atse on the left running SolidWorks. We've got Gray on the right running SolidWorks. We could see here that from this, we've got Atse on the left. Where is Atse? His screen stopped showing. We've got, this is Ricardo Jean's screen on the left here. So we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty here. We got Atse. His screen is not showing. Atse, if you can just take a moment and show your screen again. I don't know what happened to it during the tech check, but if you have a moment to take it and show your screen. Otherwise, we're going to be watching Ricardo Jean here on the left. Interesting. We lost Atse there from the screen share. We're going to see if we can get him back in here. He may have ended up out of the... Yeah, it's a tag team match. This is actually Ricardo Jean here on the left. It's a little bit of a tag team match. That's all right. We can get a little preview of what we're going to see here from Ricardo Jean, and we can focus on what Gray is doing.
Wow. So and now we have another commentator just to join me for a second here.
All right.
my daughter Piper.
Nice. From the picture?
Yep.
Right.
She's all grown up now.
Nice. What's up, Piper? Welcome. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. This is pretty cool. What do you think these guys are modeling? What does that look like to you?
What does it look like to you? What does that look like to you?
That's right. That's exactly right. Very nice. All right, and we got Atse back. Thank you, Atse. We got Atse back on here. We got Atse on the left running SolidWorks. We got Gray on the right running SolidWorks. Here we go. And so it looks like both of our runners have decided to start out by, both of our runners started a little different from what we saw Ricardo Jean doing. Ricardo Jean looked like he started out with that kind of cone shape at the bottom. We see that on the other hand, we've got Atse starting out with that octagonal shape, and we've got Gray starting out with that octagonal shape. So very interesting here from our runners. And of course, shout out to Ricardo Jean stepping in and showing us a little bit of action there. Interesting to see that Atse has decided to create this octagonal shape using just the lower portion of it. Very, very interesting. And Matab in the chat, former tournament winner, competed last week. He says he likes what he's seeing from Atse as well. I like Matab coming in and lighting up the chat. D. Vicky Chong saying, need to be clear, Gray wins. Need to clear Gray's wins. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Got it. Wow, I'm liking what I'm seeing from both these guys. Oh, Gray trying to do a loft there and ending up with the... Okay, there we go. Got that cleaned up a little bit. Interesting. An interesting drawing as well. If you go back and look at the drawing, what you'll see in that drawing is that we've got the definition of the transition at a set angle for each one. Oh, look at Atse on the left there coming up through and getting that loft to a point. He was able to create a loft to a point. Very, very interesting there. So Atse, man, I looked away just for a second and I looked back and Atse had all three of those created. I think what he did was he extruded those octagons using draft, extruded those octagons with draft and to accomplish that extrusion up with that 30 degrees. So wow. All right, and there
Yeah.
we see that he created that final feature at the bottom. I think we might end up seeing an answer coming in here soon. I'm gonna watch the chat. But wow, a sub 5-minute answer here on this first one. Ate comes in with answer 1547 grams. That is not correct. So Ate answering 1547 grams, and that is not correct within tolerance. And so Ate is going to have to re-examine his model, maybe look at the drawing again. Of course, we've got the 2D drawing here on screen, and we can maybe take a look here a little bit, and maybe we can see if we can't see what went wrong. But it's a really interesting design here with this drawing, because in this drawing you can see, or you can sort of see, that the octagons are defined with draft for the first one, draft for the second one, and then what appears to be a loft for the third one. So it's going to be really interesting to see how our runners handle this. And of course, nothing is as easy as it seems. There's always a lot more going on with these drawings, with these prints, to make things a little bit more of a gotcha, a little bit more difficult for our runners. So, wow.
The thing that I've always found very challenging about trying to use the angle or the draft feature within, the extrusion property manager of SolidWorks is just that it's kind of confusing. You're not really understanding. It's not very clear how they what the reference for that angle is, right? So that's challenging right there, trying to use that feature within within the context of the extrusion.
Exactly.
So that's
Yeah, exactly. Is it drafting on one side? Is it drafting on both sides? That's something that you have to be really careful of. And so we're taking a look here. We're watching Ate. He's got a mass up on the screen, but I haven't seen anything come through in the chat. Okay, here we go. Ate comes in with an answer 1441.98 or 1442, and that is correct. And wow. I saw in the chat somebody said these guys are geniuses. Wow, guys. Well done.
Insanely fast.
Taking down that first win. Wow.
I think maybe though. I think Ase, it might have to be a requirement that he has to color the model as shown in your thumbnail before he can give the mask.
Color the model with those low poly colors. Yeah. Wow, GG to Ate. We see the chat lighting up with GGs there for Ate. He earns the 1 point. It's like you said, Chris, he came off the bench cold, but he's getting in here and showing us kind of how it's done. And wow, super impressive from Ate there. Super impressive from Gray as well. A tricky model, tricky because of the way that some of those dimensions are defined and kind of like recognizing what's going on with that geometry. Like I said, when it comes to a model like this, you've got the angles that are shown over here in these 3 detail views, the detail views going down through the middle of the screen there, where you can see that the octagon is extruding with a draft of 30 degrees per side and then 45 degrees per side going down. And then the location of those octagons is a little bit tricky as well. Guys, welcome to the real world. This is how engineering is, and this is how you're going to get drawings from customers, and you're going to have to try to turn them in. You'll have a customer that says, hey, I've got an idea for a 3D printed low poly tree. Can you help me make it? And they're going to have very specific requirements, and you're going to have to figure out how to translate that into 3D CAD modeling. And very good job to both of our runners. These guys are competing to try to get into the semifinals and finals so they can win some awesome prizes from 3D Connection. And GG, guys, put a GG in the chat for our winner, for Ate.
I want to throw a shout out to 3D Connection. So 3D Connection's been like one of our partners for forever. I remember the original people there. The backstory of the company is pretty amazing. That's a pretty crazy story. If you guys don't know it, you should look into it. But it's a must-have product. I was on a meeting the other day with somebody who didn't have a 3D mouse, and it was painful. It was so painful. And then they got one. They finally got the little CAD mouse, and then they got the little puck. And anyway, it was a night and day difference. So it's a must-have for sure. And they also work with video editing software and some other software that's not CAD.
Yeah, that's the cool thing when you get a peripheral like that and you realize that there's other applications, outside of CAD. You could really do some cool stuff. That's an awesome testimonial and great to hear. And if you're out there using 3D CAD, definitely check it out. They're always running promotions. They have contests. You can win their hardware. And they also have like a pretty low entry point as far as like the basic. If you got like the basic one that's just the puck, they're really not that expensive, even if you're just trying to, try it out. Or if you have a coworker who has one, maybe you could ask them to borrow it and just try it out and see if it's a good fit for you. But like you said, for a lot of people, it's a must-have. So shout out to 3D Connection for sponsoring us, and shout out, of course, to Plasticity. We got to turn back to the Wheel of Fate. Chris, what challenge do you think is going to be coming up next? I think, honestly, of all the challenges, that one was the easiest, and that was a tier 4. So, guys, it only goes up from here. I don't think there's any more tier 4s in the list. I'll have to look again, but it's only going up from here. So, what do you think we're going to see for this next challenge?
Well, I want to say something though about regarding the dimensions that were on the last print. You know, like you said, you're going to see lots of different styles of dimensioning on prints that you as a CAD designer will have to endure and make it through, because everyone has their own standard of dimensioning and drawing, and so it's really one thing to like be good at CAD, but it's a whole other thing to be good at reading someone's mind and trying to understand how they intended the model to look. So yeah, that's probably the biggest skill that someone really develops on this, in this whole tournament, right? Is quickly interpreting what the 2D print means.
Yeah, and also, just looking at something, of course we have to interpret the 2D print, but hopefully when users are going through doing a lot of practice, they're also learning how to model up their own parts. That's really ultimately what we want to get them to.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to all of the runners who are able to develop those skills. And just going back one slide here to our previous sponsor, I saw in the chat, Richard said something that I'll second. He said, I've never heard, here's Richard in the chat. He says, I've never heard someone that had a 3D Connection device not talk about how much they love it. That's absolutely true. Anybody that uses these, that's regularly what you hear from them. Yeah. So
by the way, I literally have the Space Pilot that I had when I started the company in 2009. Nice. It's still the same one. Nice. I haven't had to upgrade it.
That's good. That's hardware that's built to last. Well, guys, listen, we've got some people in the chat trying to predict what the Wheel of Fate has in store. John G thinks it's going to be 7. Guntus thinks it's going to be 12. Serial Sal thinks 12. Rockcrawler thinks 12. 3D Wing thinks 10. A lot of 12s in here. Neem thinks 7. D. Vicky Sean thinks it's going to be 11. 45 Punks thinks it's going to be 10. We got Gold Darren thinks it's going to be 20. 25. All right, let's go. Oscar thinks it's going to be 7. Gilbert thinks 7. Ricardo Jean thinks 8. And we've got a few more people down here at the bottom. Castlehoff thinks it's going to be 10. And Mr. Misa thinks it's going to be 7. Kegel 3D thinks it's going to be 7. And Shalaler thinks it's going to be 11. Alessandra, what's up, Alessandra? Thinks it's going to be 8. And Apot Men thinks it's going to be 300. Yo, let's go. And, of course, guys, we got to say that our sponsor over at Plasticity is also making this Wheel of Fate happening. And you can see here that TCTN, one of our former competitors, says, Plasticity looks so sleek. Shout out to the developer bringing its current level in such a short time. Awesome alternatives to some of the other solutions out there. Yeah, for sure. And Plasticity not only does a lot of cool surface modeling, but it's also got some really slick direct editing capabilities. You kind of saw that in the beginning of this video. All this push-pulling stuff that's happening here, that's all direct editing capability. That's all taking an imported model and grabbing faces and just shifting them around. So if you're not familiar with Plasticity, be sure to check out Plasticity. And thank you to Plasticity for sponsoring the Wheel of Fate. And guys, let's give this Wheel of Fate a spin and see what it has in store and see who has clairvoyance in the chat. We're going to find out right now. Matab says 20. Let's go. All right, guys, we are moving on to our second challenge here in the mix. And the second challenge is going to be challenge number 7. Congratulations to Atse for earning that first point, but you don't win the whole thing. You don't move on until you win 2 points. So we're going to remove that. We're going to learn a little bit more about our competitors. But before we do, I just want to take a moment here and give a shout out to all the people who have done super chat so far. I know that I saw one come in last time. I think I was I overlooked it, so I apologize. Guntis, thank you so much. 10 euros. Let's go. Says 4 pleasant surprises. Run, Atse, run. Let's go. Great to see Atse here, surprising everybody, showing up for the tournament, coming off the bench cold, and earning that first point right away. And then, of course, we got to also give a huge shout out down here to Castlehoff. He's in the chat. He's doing co-commentary. He's managing the Solidbox business. He's sponsoring the show. And then he's even coming in with some super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Says, for Vicky's leg rehab. Yeah, Vicky and I were up on the mountain doing some skiing, some snowboarding, and Vicky blew out her knee. and got the special ride down the mountain. I showed some of the pictures of Snow Patrol during Model Monday Live last week, but unfortunately, Vicky is laid up in bed, but still doing moderation for the live stream, still managing the family, still doing all the amazing stuff that she does. So thank you, Vicky. We would not have this awesome Too Tall Toby community without you. And thank you, Castle Hall, for contributing to the leg rehab. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
All right, well, listen, guys, we are going to now go on to challenge number 7. Oh, we got to recognize the people who had clairvoyance, of course, as well. So who was it that came in early on? Look at this. John G., very first person right away, said 7. I know it's going to be 7. He knew it right away, and he got in there right away. Neem knew it was going to be 7 as well. Oscar knew it was going to be 7. Well done, well done. And Gilbert knew it was going to be 7. Let's go. 3 Duo knew it was going to be 7. Yo, I love Mr. Misa, 7. Let's go. You got it. You got it. Henry King says it's 6 or 7. Yep, good. We'll allow it. Let's go. Christian Ronaldo, 7. Let's go. Matab, he knew it. Neem says, yep, it's going to be 7 for sure. And Ricardo coming in with some super chat as well. 10 euros. Thank you for Vicky's recuperation. Thank you. Vicky says, thanks. Nice. Thank you all so much. All right, guys, let's learn a little bit more about these runners while we get the next challenge ready, challenge number 7. And Chris, maybe I could ask you to help me out a little bit with letting us know a little bit more about these runners.
Sounds good. Right. Well, as we all know, Ase is off the bench. Sorry, just cold off the bench here at this tournament, kicking butt already. And well, I guess we don't know. I didn't know this before that he actually designed bike frames. That's his new passion. Okay, that's good. It's a new quality. And he did the Too Tall Toby CSW prep course, and he passed it on the first try. Nice. That's actually really impressive because most people fail it the first time and realize this weird thing that they missed or didn't understand. So that's really impressive. Wow, congrats! I'll say that's really great. And for Gray, the main thing is not winning but participating. That is. I literally just told my kids that yesterday. I'm like, you're gonna lose a lot of time. So, great comment. I love it. And yes, he is totally correct. The Too Tall Toby community is the friendliest community out there. I totally agree. Super encouraging.
Yeah,
so,
and I'd say regardless of what happens in the tournament, Gray has already won the prize for the #1 profile picture. I love his picture so much. I love that background, that like Space Cosmos background, the reflective glasses, the hat, the headphones, the whole thing. I love everything about that profile picture. And so, Gray, you win #1 profile picture, and no matter what happens in the tournament, you got that one locked up. So, congratulations. And guys, let's see what happens in this next battle. Of course, the Wheel of Fate can be a cruel mistress, and it just depends on what the models are. You know, sometimes the models are just a single part. Like that last example, it was like almost like a plastic type of part. I know it was made out of wood, but it's kind of like a plastic part design. Sometimes the models are assemblies, sometimes they're manufacturing, sometimes they're sheet metal. So it's really up to the Wheel of Fate to determine what the next model is and whether or not that's going to play to the strengths or weaknesses of our runners. So this next challenge is going to be drawing number 7. And Chris, are you ready for this one?
I'm ready. I'm very anxious.
Let's do it. Here we go, guys. We're going to get into this next CAD vs. CAD battle featuring Atse from North Macedonia running SolidWorks going up against Gray, our #1 seed from Russia running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly in XXXX grams? What is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly in XXXX grams? And our runners are grabbing a screen capture. They're looking over this thing. We can see there's a bill of materials down in the corner. It says that this has got 2 different parts. It's got a heat guard with the holes omitted, and it's got the heater body. It's a space heater. And we've got the material plain carbon steel and ABS. Let's see how our runners handle this challenge. And so here we go into the CAD vs. CAD battle. And we can see that the rendering of this space heater, I've included the holes. Maybe we'll include them when we add this model to the library. But for the challenge that we've given these guys, those holes are not on that front guard. It's just a front plate there that's kind of wrapping around. Still complicated, though. How do you design these 2 parts to kind of nest together? so that the part that's made out of that stainless steel matches into the part that's made out of plastic, that it has those corners, that the corners have the correct radii. How do you design parts like this? This is some tricky stuff.
So this is one of the prints I saw earlier that when I looked at all the prints that we were going to cover today potentially, I remember thinking right away how I would do that grill. And I'm limited to what I can share, but
yep. There's a few ways. I mean, listen, there's a few ways you can do it. So, we can maybe share some of those ways a little bit later, but there's actually a few ways. But wow, look at Gray on the right, made short work of that upper lip area. But wow, look at Otse did it using a fillet. That's so interesting. I didn't get to see how Gray did it. I would have done that with a sweep. I would have
he swept it. Yeah, he did sweep that.
Otse notched out a corner and then did a fillet.
Yeah, that was clever too.
Was
very
really
clever.
Unexpected. And so now both of our runners are working on that kind of. There's an area on the back of the space heater where you can reach down with your hand and you can pick it up. So they're both now designing that little pocket area, and man, so interesting to see the different techniques. I love seeing this stuff.
Well, what I'm already impressed with these guys is their SolidWorks settings are set up to make the sketching process super efficient. A lot of the shortcut keys. Obviously, you can see Gray has been hitting. I think he's been hitting maybe the D key. I don't know what his shortcut is, but that's the ultimate efficiency, is to be able to sketch and essentially dimension as you're creating closing the contour. So I love this.
Yeah.
And Ase is pretty much in the same boat. He's very fluid with it. I think he's more of the style to sketch it out than kind of assign all the dimensions, but either way it gets it done.
They're very close, and that you can see how close they are. Now let's see. Now they're going to get into the interesting part, creating that pocket and then creating the geometry inside of that pocket. So here we see on the right, Gray has decided to switch his view so that he can see all the hidden edges, kind of see it in wireframe. Otse looks like he is. Let's see. It's interesting. He's created a copy of the main body. Otse has created a copy of the main body, and now he's going to be working with that copy of the main body. So really interesting to see these two different approaches. And you can see that dimension that Gray is putting in now, that's how this thing is dimensioned. It's dimensioned as 5 millimeters off of the side of the part. It's kind of an interesting dimension there, but that's how the customer defined it to us. So there you see Gray was able to put that in there. And we see that Otse, on the other hand, looks like he's doing this more as a... See what he's doing here.
It's a little more of a multi-body approach, maybe, because the fact that he copied that body up front, it tells me maybe he has like a background in like other CAD programs where you had to use more Boolean functions. But
and it looks like that's almost what he's done. He's kind of created that plate, and now he's going to try and Boolean that out. So see how he does it. Now we see Gray on the right turning this thing into a cut extrude. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now how is he going to get the other body in there? That's the question. So we're going to be watching both of these guys. This is really, really interesting. Matab says Gray looks more locked in. Give these guys some music.
Wow. It's it's so stressful for me because when I see somebody do something differently than I would do it, I'm just waiting for there to be this consequence to it, right? But no, I mean they know what they're doing.
These guys,
that's what's great about CAD, right? Is that you can get to the same result with so many different methods, right?
Yep.
And I mean that's the beauty of it, showing people head to head on a tournament. It's as competitive as it gets. And you know what's also exciting is this is something that AI could really never do, right? It just can't. I mean, I've seen people try to integrate or implement AI into like design, and it's just like, oh wow, great! I'm sorry, I just saw Gray do it. I was
so close.
I love this. I love this.
I'm trying to listen to you, but like I'm really focused on this action, and I'm really interested to see. This is going to be neck and neck. These guys are both so close right now. So we're going to keep an eye on the chat. We're going to see if either one of them can come in with an answer. We're watching the chat. So Ate comes to the chat. 4,911 grams, and it looks like Gray is right behind him. And Gray comes in with an answer. 4,913 grams. And guys, the correct answer is 4,911 grams plus or minus 5. They both had an answer within tolerance, but it's going to be Otse who wins that second point, and Otse is going to move on in the tournament into the semifinals. And wow, what a battle between these guys. Holy smokes, so close between them. And Wow, within just a matter of seconds. Gray in the chat says, GG, bro. Wow. Guys, what a battle. That was so cool to see both of them modeling that up. Sub 6-minute times from both of them. Guys, be sure to give a GG in the chat to both of our runners. Both of our runners putting in an epic showing there. And holy smokes, man, that was awesome from both of our runners.
Unreal.
Wow.
I was worried I couldn't do any meaningful commentary today because with Ase and Gray, I mean, especially this whole battle here, I was like, it'll happen too fast. You know, you won't be able to say anything or even comment on anything because, you know, the speed. And sure enough, you know, like that's exactly what happened. So when he was in the process of doing that subtraction there to leave him with that body, that grill, I mean, there were several ways to do that, right? And I kept thinking, like, which one is really faster, actually? What did you think Ase was doing with that copy body?
I thought it was so good for both of them, man. I thought both techniques were really good, and that's what I love about watching this too. Is just being surprised a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, there's so many different ways you could have created this thing, and you know the way that I did it was very different as well. Like I did it with a split line from the front face, created a surface offset at 0, and then thicken, you know, thicken, cut, thicken, like an offset surface, copy surface, thicken. You know, so there's so many different ways that you could accomplish the same thing, and that's what makes this such a fun tournament, such a fun environment. And well, I got to give a huge shout out to both of our runners, to Otse from North Macedonia and to Gray, two SolidWorks wizards going head to head there. And it's going to be Otse who's going to take that down. And man, he had a really tough battle against Gray, and he's got nothing but tough battles coming up after this as well. The winner, if I'm not mistaken, the winner of that battle is going to go on and face Matab next week. So, you know, no easy paths in this tournament, and really, really awesome. So GG, guys, to both of our runners. Thank you so much to both of our runners. Thank you to our sponsors, of course. Thank you to Xometry for sponsoring this tournament, and thank you to 3D Connection for sponsoring this tournament. GG to the winner of the tournament. GG to both runners. And guys, don't forget to hit the like button if you're liking what you're seeing so far. That brings us to the halfway point of this tournament, but we are not done. We've got another match coming up here in just a moment. So take a moment, hit the like button, subscribe, share, and reshare. And of course, consider visiting us over at tootalltoby.com and signing up for a free account over at tootalltoby.com. If you have the financial means, we always appreciate Super Chat during these tournaments. It's always a great opportunity to raise a little bit of extra money to help us continue to run these tournaments. So we really appreciate it from all of you out there. And if you haven't been to the website, tootalltoby.com and the Practice Models app, we're just going to take a moment real quick here and show you what this is all about. I know, Chris, you had said that last night you were working with your nephew and trying to get him involved in this website. And so let me just bring up the website here so everybody can see what it is that we're talking about. So the website is tootalltoby.com, www.tootalltoby.com. And what you're able to do on this website is you're able to practice and improve your 3D CAD skills by modeling up parts that you would find in the real world. So it's very similar to what we're doing here in the tournament. It just gives you the opportunity to do it yourself. And so at tootalltoby.com, what you're able to do is sign up for a free account and then access this library here. And we can see down below in the library, we've got a library of over 250 CAD challenges. So very similar to what we're seeing the runners do here today, but it gives you a chance to practice at your own skill level. The runners today are doing all tier 4 and tier 5 and tier 6 models. Well, maybe you're not quite up at that level yet. Maybe you want to start out at tier 1 and work your way through the tier 1 challenges. So here's the very first tier 1 challenge here. And we can see that underneath that tier 1 challenge, we've got some tutorials from the community. So you can do these challenges using any 3D CAD system. And if you get stuck, you're likely to find a tutorial there to help you get unstuck. And then when you're ready to do this challenge, you can say reveal drawing and go. And so the question here is, what is the mass of this part in XX grams? And so you can try to model up this part, see if you can get it correct. If you type in an incorrect answer, like 67, oh, actually 67 was correct. It was just a random guess on that one. So if you type in the correct answer, it tells you you're correct. And if you type in an incorrect answer, then you'll see that this field here will tell you that you got it wrong. So if we type in 42, it says, nope, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. So you guys can check this out. It's a really fun website. It gives you the opportunity to really work on and refine your CAD skills. And we do have some models in there that are free for everyone. So you can see here that there's a filter up here for the type of model that you're trying to do, whether you want to do the only work on the free models. We usually have like between 10 and 15 free models. We're actually a little bit overstacked right now. We have 18 free models in there for you. So this is a great chance to get in there and get started for free. And then you can also see here that you can filter by the type of model you want to do. So if you were interested in getting some sheet metal practice in, you don't really do any sheet metal at the office, but you would love to get in there and do some sheet metal challenges. Well, this will give you a chance to get in there and to model up these parts. The parts have all the dimensions that you need. You know that they have all the dimensions that you need because here on this screen, we can see how many people have completed successfully this challenge. And then thanks to all those people successfully completing that challenge, we can also see here that the average solve time for this thing is 24 minutes and 2 seconds. So whenever I'm going through and doing these challenges, I always try to challenge myself to finish the models before that average solve time. The other thing that I want to mention here is that if you do a sort here and you sort in the opposite order, we've been adding all the models from this tournament as well as the models from the previous tournament. So if you do like the models that you're seeing here in the tournament and you want to try them yourself and see if you can do them faster than these CAD wizards, well, we've been adding all the models from the tournament, all the models from the previous tournament. Usually I go in and I tweak a couple dimensions so the answer will be a little bit different from what you saw in the tournament, and that way you can truly challenge yourself and make sure that you've got what it takes to complete these challenges. So we have a lot of really fun challenges. You can filter by the model type. You can filter by 3D printable models that are optimized for 3D printing. This one here is one of my favorite models of all time, the 3D printed hex bolt. So you can go through and you can challenge yourself and see if you can model that up and come up with the correct mass, and then you can go and 3D print it and see what it actually looks like in the real world. So if you guys haven't been here before, visit us, tootalltoby.com. There's a welcome video right here on the homepage. You can learn all about how to get started. If you're not logged in, you can actually do a challenge as a guest. You can say try as a guest, and then you can get in here and you can get logged in and try this as a guest. And this is the very first challenge here that anybody can do with any CAD system. And if you are logged in, if you do have a free account, then you'll see that up here at the top of the screen, we've got a set of challenges that are available for everyone. We call them the featured challenges. And you can also see here that at the top of the screen, the featured challenges this month are sponsored by some upcoming training that we're doing with Too Tall Toby. So if you watch the tutorials that I post and you like my style of teaching and you want to learn some advanced SolidWorks part design techniques, these would be things like advanced filleting and lofting and sweeping and multi-body design and curves and patterns. If you want to learn more about that stuff and kind of up your SolidWorks game, be sure to check it out. We're having a live training class on February 10th and 11th. It's a instructor-led training class across the internet, so you can take the training from anywhere, but you will be live with me, and that way you can ask me questions along the way. So if you like my style of training, this would be a great opportunity to take some training with Too Tall Toby. And if you like doing these kinds of 2D to 3D challenges, be sure to sign up for an account over at tootalltoby.com. And that's the website. Chris, I know you had said last night you were getting your nephew in here trying to do some of these challenges.
That's right. So Jackson, who's 11, we're doing a little project where we're documenting whether he can use Onshape out of the box as an 11-year-old. Like how easy is it to learn Onshape with their content, their tutorial content, and we're also using, of course, the Too Tall Toby website to see how that compares to that, factory training, as he would call it, I guess.
Nice.
By the way, I just saw something in the chat that just made me laugh. Some guy, I think, who was it? Was it GT Wood? I have not seen any Solid Edge users. I believe there was one Solid Edge user like 3 seasons ago.
I know we've had a Rhino user. I don't recall whether we've had Solid Edge users, but when you are looking at the Too Tall Toby website, we do have a scoreboard where you can see the users from all over the world, and you can see what CAD system they're using. And we definitely have Edge users in here. So, as you go down through and you look at that scoreboard, you'll find that there's a few Edge users. It's not the most popular CAD system that we've got, but we definitely have Solid Edge users in here from time to time doing the challenges and trying to test their CAD skills. So we have users from all over the world. Here we go. Het Nero is our first SolidWorks CAD user, our first Solid Edge user here in the leaderboard. But we do have users from all over the world using all different CAD systems. Here's another H. Schaffels using Solid Edge there. So, yeah, we definitely have some Solid Edge users in here. All right, Chris, are you ready to move on to the next half of the show?
Yes, I'm very anxious. I've seen these prints. I'm really anxious because there's one in particular that I'm like, oh gosh.
Well, we'll see if the Wheel of Fate, we'll see what the Wheel of Fate has in store for these guys. But of course, it is going to be up to the Wheel of Fate to determine what is going to happen. And I'm very excited to see Darren. We've got a Fusion user going up against a SolidWorks user, our number 7 seed going up against the current reigning world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling. So I think these are going to be some really good matches. Let's run a quick practice session here just to make sure that we've got everything in line, that we've got the correct users sharing the correct screens. Last time we did that challenge, we saw that Atse actually wasn't seeing his screen. So it's good to do these kind of tech checks and make sure that we've got everything in line here for these runners. So here we go. This practice battle between Darren and Ricardo Jean begins in 3, 2, 1, go. So the question here is, what is the mass of this part in 0.xx pounds? This is a tech check. It's not a model for points. It's using ABS as the material, and both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture, and both of our runners are attempting to model this up. We've got Ricardo Jean on the right using SolidWorks. We've got Gold Darren here on the left. We've got Darren on the left using Fusion. Love seeing Fusion in here. And Ricardo's got a little personalized message there for Darren. Says, let's see what he says here. Let's see if we can get this puck out of the way. Oh, come on. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. He says, may the force be with you. Good, lucky, Gold Darren. Very nice. Very nice. And so
nice.
We can see here we've got Darren on the left running Fusion. We've got Ricardo Jean on the right running SolidWorks. He's got the tree up. He's got that. That's nice as well. Looks like maybe I'm getting Ricardo's screen a little overcropped here. So let's see if we can fix that as well.
Darren, don't fall for Ricardo's pleasantries here. I think this is all a little bit of a distraction.
He's playing at the next level, huh?
Yeah, I think it's a little 4D chess.
I like it. Like it. All right, there we go.
So, I'm really curious. How did he overlay that image into like that? That's pretty neat.
Yeah, he must have done a set background to use image and then made it like all white and then made that's what I would suspect.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, Ricardo Jean has got some tricks up his sleeve for sure.
I mean, there's no other, at a minimum, you come to this channel to see how people lay out their toolbars and how they customize things, because I've always been inspired by people's setups when I come on this channel. Very cool.
So, guys, I was just looking at the chat here. So I see Ricardo Jean came in with a mass of 0.26 pounds. That is correct. And then Gold Darren came in with a mass of 0.007 grams. That is not correct. It should be 0.26 pounds. So, Gold Darren, I don't know if you want to maybe just try that one again. If you still have the screen capture, just try it again and just double check and make sure, because some of these challenges are definitely in pounds. And I want to make sure that you've got your inches and pounds and your calculators and everything all working correctly. It should have been 0.26 pounds for that hockey puck. And we're just going to make sure, this is why we do the tech check. Okay. We just want to make sure that it's, that we've got everything all working here. We don't want Gold Darren to end up being ahead and then end up losing the point. Okay, there we go. 0.26 pounds. He's got it. Wow, that was fast, too. Wow. Guys, this is going to be a good match. I am excited. All right, well, listen, we can't be the ones who decide, what challenge they're going to get. We've got a lot of really good challenges for these runners, but it's going to be up to the Wheel of Fate to decide this. So shout out to our sponsor, Plasticity, for sponsoring the wheel. And if anybody's out there and wants to try to guess what the wheel has in store for these runners, feel free to put that in the chat. You can prove your clairvoyance. And we're going to give this thing a shuffle, and we're going to give this thing a spin. And like I said, I just want to give a quick shout out to Plasticity sponsoring the Wheel of Fate. We use the Wheel of Fate to randomize our runners, but if you guys ever are interested in getting some advanced and Class A surfacing tools, some easy interoperability to work within your CAD system, check out plasticity.xyz. And thank you to Plasticity for sponsoring the Wheel of Fate. Here we go. Let's give this thing a spin. Let's see what challenge is in store for our runners. Okay. Challenge number 11. Let's go. We're going to remove that one from the list. And we're going to learn just a little bit more about our runners before we get started with this matchup. So here we go. And Chris, maybe you could just help out the audience and let them know a little bit about the runners while the production team is getting the next drawing ready.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Well, we got Darren, and he is I guess you could call him a Renaissance man of engineering. And he restores old motorbikes, and he likes to actually use CAD and manual machining. That's great. And nothing like a good CNC machine. He has a dog who acts like an evil mastermind. Well, I think that's called a cat. And Ricardo, who we know well, who's just been on here forever and dominating. He loves his wife. She is wonderful. Oh wow, that's But has she fallen down? Has she hurt her leg on a ski slope? That's what your marriage. You don't know your marriage until you've gone through that whole situation. And he's the owner of Biblioteca CAD Provistia.com. I guess it's the Brazilian website.
Nice.
By the way, what's up with the Brazilians? They've been kicking butt with CAD. I've noticed lately on your other leaderboard and just in general, like it's some interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah,
I guess it's
remember
because,
Will? We used to have Will from Brazil. Yeah,
that's right. But I feel like I think these guys are like the up on the pyramid there, and they're just training all these next generation CAD instructors. He's of course a SolidWorks teacher on YouTube, and his channel is Ricardo Jean on YouTube. And he's been in the tournament 5 times, and he's won the last 2, which I've seen in live, and they were just nail biters. So I think he's got a good shot. Yeah. But Darren, I've heard good things too. So
yeah, this is going to be really good. So guys, I'm very excited to see these matchups, and shout out to Darren, our newcomer. It's always great to have newcomers here in the chat. So if anybody has any final advice for Darren before we get started here, this is your chance to put that in the chat. My advice to you guys, as always, would be just take your time, look at the print, and really try to, just take your time and try to figure out what's going on with the print, and also try to go as fast as you can, and right away, as soon as the print shows up, jump right into the CAD. Don't even look at the print, and just get in there, because your opponent is probably going super fast as well. So just try to juggle both of those things, and you'll be fine. And with that, good luck. Richard in the chat says, Darren, remember to breathe. Yes, that is good advice. That is very good advice. And 3 Duo says, I'm going to be in the next tournament. Let's go, Brazil. Yo, let's go. All right, and Gold Darren says, message received. That sounds like a good idea. So here we go, Chris. This next CAD vs. CAD battle featuring Darren from the UK, our number 7 seed running Fusion, going up against Ricardo Jean from Brazil. He's a 2-time tournament winner. He's a world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, and he's going to be running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this multi-body part or assembly? In x.xx pounds. The tolerance is plus or minus 0.01 pounds. We can see that this model is made in inches, and we can see that this is a snow shovel handle. Both of our runners are grabbing a screen capture of this model. Both of our runners are jumping into their CAD systems, trying to come up with a game plan and trying to model this thing up. It's made from ABS and plain carbon steel. And let's take a look over at the CAD vs. CAD battle. Here we go. We've got Darren on the left running Fusion. We've got Ricardo Jean on the right running SolidWorks. And both of our runners are trying to come up with a game plan. It's kind of a tricky part. You've got this tube. There's lots of different tools in 3D CAD to create tubes, to create bent tubes. And so it looks like both of our runners have decided to start with the tube. Whenever we are working in 3D CAD, Chris, we will look at a model, and we tend to kind of discretize the model into different areas. And in the case of this model, you probably obviously say one area is the handle and one area is the tube. I always find it interesting to see where our runners put the origin and which area of the model our runners begin with. And in the case of this model, they could have started with the handle, they could have started with the tube, and they both decided to start with the tube. Very, very interesting.
I started my stopwatch because this is one of those models that I predicted could be under 3 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I did, because I've seen Ricardo model things like this before real fast, but I'm very curious how, to your point, where they're going to start. Are they going to, it's a multi-body, it could be a multi-body part, but some people would say, no, that's an assembly, right? So there's some logistical challenges right away. Like, are you going to have the origin at the very tip of the shovel? It's just
Exactly.
And if you think about that too long, you lose. It's over.
Yeah, it's something that you really need to get in the habit of looking at a model and kind of deciding where's the origin going to be, and and why you choose where the origin is. It's something I talk about a lot in my tutorials. If you guys want to learn more about this, just go through the library at totaltoby.com or watch the YouTube videos, and you'll see that in almost every one of my tutorials, I say, first thing we're going to do is decide on the origin, and here's why. It's because all the dimensions come together, or because the part has symmetry, or because it looks like if the customer changes something, they probably won't change this location. So that's a good spot for the origin. It's different for each model, but it's one of those things where the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it, and the more it's going to become second nature. And so we see here our runners going through and trying to come up with a solution here. We see Darren going through. It looks like he's working on kind of the sweep geometry for that handle. And by the way, Chris, I know you mentioned you started a stopwatch. That's actually going to be a thing of the past with the modern technology of the Too Tall Toby CAD vs. CAD tournaments. We actually have a clock overlay right on the live stream. So we're currently at 3 minutes for this model. 3 minutes so far.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I'm surprised what I'm seeing, actually. So, I can see there's like a way to model this for the tournament to get the answer quickly. But they could bite you in the butt later, right? So
I mean, hopefully this is a topic we've had come up quite a bit, and hopefully, we're teaching people how to do both. Like, we want you to be fast, but we also, making a fast model that's not stable is not really good. It's like, if you're using the analogy of playing scales in music, it's like, it's not really good if you can play a scale really fast, but every note is like a bad fret. That doesn't really help anybody. You want to kind of think of CAD the same way. And so recently I've been making videos where I'm trying to show that you can have both. You can speed model and make robust models. You can do both. And that's really the true path to mastery, right? If an electrician comes over to your house, a master electrician comes over to your house, they're going to be able to install a whole new circuit a lot faster than you, but that doesn't mean that they're cutting corners. It doesn't mean they're speed running the installation. It just means they've learned how to master their trade. They know how to use all the steps, and they know how to get out of a problem quickly if they get into one. And that's what we see a lot of in this tournament too. We see people making mistakes and having to backtrack, and sometimes that's what makes the difference between earning a point or losing and getting knocked out.
Yeah, one thing I could say is that the level of play in competition now is pretty high, because this is the kind of part that in the first season, or a few years ago, it's been 4 years, hasn't it already? Mm-hmm. At least, where we were seeing really competitive people, but this would have taken a while in the old days, I think. So we're at a point where these fairly complex models are they're still being done under 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's pretty remarkable.
It's interesting. It's cool to see Ricardo Gene kind of struggling here. Really, both of our runners kind of struggling here. This is where I think we can really learn the most from watching these CAD battles, and especially reviewing the videos afterwards. Seeing what a professional like Ricardo does when he does get stuck, when he does start getting errors in the tree. What tools does he use? I saw him use the rollback bar there. I saw him reading the error messages that were in the tree. It's really interesting to see how these professionals troubleshoot when things go wrong.
Yeah. One of the challenges with this model is that it's also long enough that you have to zoom in and out to understand where you are at all times. You just kind of reframe it and take a second to make sure you're on track. Are you actually modeling this correctly? And so that's a challenge. I keep wondering if the future of CAD will make like zooming and just viewing your model a lot easier. I do hope for a day with like VR goggles and all that augmented reality stuff makes it a little quicker to interact with the model, because there are some, you start to realize the limitations of working with a 2D screen when you're watching people model something like that's this long and swoopy, and you kind of need to see it in 3D.
Yeah, I mean, the benefits are definitely there for incorporating some of that technology into CAD, and we've seen some innovation along the way, but I think that, you know, if anything, that's where probably AI will really start to shine, is just making that less herky-jerky. I think that's kind of what the main concern is right now. When you go under a set of goggles, things get to be like real, you know, you get motion sickness, or you get like, it gets real herky-jerky. And I think that that's where we're really going to see AI shine, is going to be in kind of smoothing out some of those interactions. But it looks like, speaking of smoothing things out, it looks like Ricardo Jean is back on track now. He struggled there for a little bit, getting that sleeve in place and getting that pipe and figuring out where that pipe was going to end. But it looks like he's at least moving through the features a little smoother. You can always tell when you're watching a fellow CAD jockey. You can always tell when things are going smooth versus things going a little bit sideways, a little bit off the rails. And it looks like he's now feeling a little bit more confident. Things are going a little smoother. He's kind of, you know, cruising through the features without getting errors. And so, meanwhile, we see on the left, we've got Darren going through, and you know, once again, just like we saw in the last competition, he's at a very similar spot here where he's creating that kind of rounded, almost like a horseshoe shape for that handle. So we now see Ricardo merging that transition into that handle. Looks like he is maybe did a combine there. Okay, I think that probably the reason he needed to do that combine was because he needed to have that common edge to do that fillet that he just applied. So yeah, again, you can see it's kind of night and day from where he was about 4 minutes ago. He was just kind of really struggling to get any features on screen, and now it looks like things are moving forward a little smoother now. So we may end up seeing an answer here. We're going to keep an eye on the chat. We're going to keep an eye on our answer key here, and it looks like Ricardo has come in with an answer, and his answer is, looks like he's coming in with an answer here of what are we seeing here? 6.61 pounds. That is not correct. That is not correct. So we're looking for this answer in x.xx pounds, and Ricardo coming in with an answer here, 6.61 pounds. That is not correct. So Ricardo now needing to go through to examine his models to try to figure out what exactly went wrong, where maybe things were off. He's going to look at the drawing. He's going to look at his model. He's going to see if he can't see anything that looks mismatched between the two. Oh, and Darren, interesting. Darren opting to create the handle and the I guess you'd call it the tube, the handle and the tube, in two separate features. So very interesting. And watching Ricardo here, Ricardo was modeling it up. Ricardo deciding to put the handle on a 90-degree angle, maybe coming up with a new design there for the shovel design. Very interesting as well. But I love this. This is where things get kind of interesting. You know, maybe Ricardo just decided once he got to the point of creating that handle that his orientation was wrong. Of course, in the real world, you could always just take that body and rotate it 90 degrees. But for the challenge that we're doing here, we're only looking for the mass. So, some models, it's really important you design them together. For example, that last model with the space heater, that was one that was really important to design together.
Toby, I think we have another mass. There's another mass entry here.
Okay, great. And so we're seeing the answer come in here, and it looks like the answer is coming in 2.93 pounds. And that is correct. Is correct. So congratulations to Ricardo Jean. Well done, my friend. Congratulations. And wow. Very nice and very, very nice. Wow. Well done. Wow, a good match. Could have gone either way.
I think that other shelf, I think Ricardo's design is actually probably more ergonomic for a shovel.
Maybe. Yeah, holding it like that.
I think you're onto something, Ricardo.
Yeah, maybe. Holding it with your fists kind of facing forward maybe is the way to go. But wow, guys, what a matchup and what a way to start. And I think we actually started here with a little bit of controversy. I think there was an innocent mistake, but did I pull the wrong drawing? Was it supposed to be drawing number 11 and I pulled drawing number 10? I think I did. So a little bit of an innocent mistake here, but Ricardo earning that first point and getting that model correct. The Wheel of Fate spoke, and the Wheel of Fate, if I remember correctly, the Wheel of Fate said drawing number 11. Oh, wow. Castle, we're getting into a little point of controversy here. Man, I think, you know what? I think I'm going to just take that point back, Ricardo. Man, I'm sorry, but I do not like to mess with the Wheel of Fate. I know this is a little unorthodox, but I do not like to mess with the Wheel of Fate. So, Ricardo, man, Gold Darren says, nah, just keep it. I think it was fair. I think it was fair too, but listen, when you have as much experience as I do with the Wheel of Fate, you kind of learn not to mess with it. So, Ricardo, I apologize. This one's on me, but I showed the wrong drawing, and because of that, I'm going to take that point away from you. And I listen, man, you got your work cut out for you. Everybody's always going for the king, but that was drawing number 10 went to Ricardo. But I'm just going to make a note here on my sheet here that was incorrect. It was supposed to be drawing number 11. So wow, a little bit of controversy here, Chris, getting things started. And I know that might seem a little bit strange to do that. But listen, I don't like to mess with the Wheel of Fate.
Not at all. I'm with you 100%. There's a certain karma you get.
I don't like to mess with it.
Or you don't get with the Wheel of Fate. So
Yeah.
I think you're right. And I think Ricardo, it was nice to flex a little bit. So
Yeah.
This would be good.
Little warm up. We'll just call that one a warm up, guys. All right. So we're gonna reset everything. I see in the chat, Kegel says, "Man, why don't you just do the correct drawing next?" We could do that. We are gonna do the correct drawing next, actually. Okay. The Wheel of Fate has spoken, and the correct drawing is coming up. And we see here in the chat is going crazy. Moment Arm says, "Justice for Ricardo." Wow. Yep. Okay. That's right. Yep. That's fair. That's fair. All right. But guys, the Wheel of Fate, we gotta get this thing back on track. I almost feel like I should just add it back into the Wheel of Fate. I think I'm gonna just do that because we're in kind of unknown territory here. But I think I'm just gonna add it back into the Wheel of Fate, and we'll see what the Wheel of Fate has in store. Okay, so we're just gonna burn that one off. We're just gonna burn off drawing number 10. We're gonna put 11 back into the mix, and that's how we're gonna do this. I'm making the call here. Okay, I do not like to mess around with the Wheel of Fate. It is better to let it do its thing. So guys, we're just gonna say that drawing number 10 there was a push, and let's go. Justice Rockcrawler in the chat says, "Justice for Ricardo." He's starting the super chat. All right, well listen, man, and Dundee Diddley says, "Nah, that's not the right decision." And someone you don't know says, "Keep it off the wheel. It's not a surprise drawing anymore." No, we're keeping 10 off the wheel. We knocked 10 off the wheel. 10 was the snow shovel. So this was 10 here, the snow shovel. Okay, so we're taking 10 off the wheel. It's not a surprise anymore, but 11 is still on the wheel. Okay, 11 is still on the wheel. So Uncle Facepound says 11 must not be denied. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And Ricardo robbed. Yo, hashtag Ricardo robbed in the chat. So the chat is going crazy. And guys, I understand. And believe me, I understand. But again, it's just something that I just don't like to mess with the Wheel of Fate. I'm sorry, guys. So here we go. Student said, "Don't tempt fate." Yeah, exactly. Don't tempt fate. That's exactly the right thing. Justice for the audience. More CAD battles, says Victor K. Yes, indeed. Chris Castle, did you know we were going to end up getting into so much controversy here today?
I love it. This is what the world needs, more CAD controversy.
Gold Darren says, "I feel bad for Ricardo. That was a fair round." Well, listen, when you're the world champion, sometimes, you gotta really prove your merit. Okay, you gotta prove your mettle. So we're gonna let it cook. All right. Fate Gate. Mesa Make says we're going to start trending Fate Gate. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to shuffle this thing up. Let's see what the Wheel of Fate has in store for the next battle. Here we go. And Wheel of Fate, I apologize. I wasn't trying to override your decision. Oh, and the Wheel of Fate has spoken, guys. And what does it come up with? Of course, it comes up with drawing number 11. Of course, it's got to come up with that. So here we go. We're going to remove this drawing here. And Chris, how are you doing? Do you need a bio break or anything? You want
I'm
to take...
good. I'm seriously,
Okay,
I can't wait to see this next round because I've seen these models. I just can't wait to see the carnage.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So the Wheel of Fate has spoken. We are on drawing number 11. We're Xing out that point from the previous one, and we're going to go on to drawing number 11. We've seen quite a bit of controversy. Some of those hashtags are already trending on various social media platforms. So we're going to see Justice for Ricardo, hashtag Ricardo robbed. I like that one. We're going to see, what ends up happening here. But I'm going to take my chances with social media if it means keeping the Wheel of Fate happy. I think the fact that the Wheel of Fate came up with drawing number 11 means that we're on the right track here. So let's get into it here, guys. Chris, are we ready, you think? Let's get that wheel off the screen.
Just do it.
Here we go. Let's get that wheel off the screen. Here we go. This next CAD vs. CAD battle. Hope Darren and Ricardo shake it off a little bit. That was kind of a fun practice round. But here we go. This next CAD vs. CAD battle featuring Darren from the UK running Fusion, going up against Ricardo Jean from Brazil, 2-time tournament winner and current world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go! What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? A very different part from the previous drawing. What is the mass of this part in XXX grams? This is drawing number 11, the Ice Scraper 1. It's a tier 6 model. Let's go. We can see here that this model has some very interesting geometry. We can see this model is made out of ABS. The density is 1020 kilograms per cubic meter, and our runners are looking at the drawing. They are grabbing a screen capture of this drawing, and they are jumping into their CAD systems to get started. Let's click over to the CAD vs. CAD battle so we don't miss any of the action. Interesting here, we can see when it's a tier 6 drawing, our runners tend to be a little bit slower to get started. Okay, there's quite a bit of information on this drawing. You can see that this is an ice scraper. You can see it's all one part, made out of ABS. We see Rock Crawler in the chat says, I'm digging the cold weather parts themes. Yep. I have one, someone you don't know says, I have one that looks just like this. Nice, nice. So really interesting model here. And again, we can see that we've got Darren on the left running Fusion. We've got Ricardo Jean on the right running SolidWorks. And just like we talked about in the last example, you know, some of the things that we do when we're modeling up parts like this is first we decide where the origin is going to be, and then we kind of discretize the model. We've got the handle section on the back, and then we've got the scraper section on the front. Well, very interesting to see that both of our runners decided to start with the handle section. And look at Darren drawing first blood, getting the first solid geometry on screen by revolving that handle. Well done, and that was fast. 1 minute and 30 seconds, and he already had that handle drawn up and revolved. So now obviously we get into the trickier part of this design, and that is the scraper section. And how do we create that scraper section? That is the question.
So this is one of the models that I saw that I'm like, okay, I gotta see this. I gotta see this in the competition.
Yes.
There's so much I want to say about
Ricardo Jean here trying to use contour selection, but struggling. Okay, there we go. And interesting, using that alt select to get those contours before jumping into the revolve. Very, very cool. Not a workflow that we see that often. You know, a true example of some deep knowledge of SolidWorks. Most users don't even know how to begin that process. But Ricardo Jean getting in there. But unfortunately, as we like to say, SolidWorks being SolidWorks, SolidWorks just fighting him the whole time. There we go. He got that feature revolved. And now maybe he opened the door there for Darren to move forward to get those next features created.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think he unfortunately wasted a little too much time trying to make a elegant use of the contour selection tool. I mean, Mark Schneider from SolidWorks would have been very proud. An OG contour select, guru. But no, it's okay. Look, Ricardo's already picked up the pace. He's already onto the scraper part.
Yep.
It's funny how sometimes a trivial feature will really suck a lot of your energy. And I'm kind of interested. They kind of both place the origin just where they place the origin in the same spot on both screens here.
Right in the middle.
What do you think about this grid view in Fusion?
I love it. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I love how it rotates with the sketch when you rotate the sketch view. Yeah, I love it. I think the Fusion interface, the default Fusion interface, especially here with dark mode, it just looks fantastic. I think it looks so clean.
Yeah, I agree.
It's funny how little things with the interface can just make it look aesthetically so much more pleasing.
True, and you also notice that on that screen it's a very high resolution, or it's a very high DPI.
Yeah.
Or is that did I get that right? Yeah.
Yep.
And so if you're young and you can see that well, that's great. I've always been kind of critical of how the UI in SolidWorks just seems to not really scale with your monitor as well as say Fusion. So,
well, very interesting to see this sketch here. Ricardo coming through with that sketch, pretty clutch with that sketch there, and looks like maybe getting that feature ready to go. We'll see if he has any problems. Okay, interesting. So he decided to extrude that with the kind of the extra, and I'm gonna let him cook here.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting feature on the drawing. This is called out as a spherical cut, this feature that Ricardo is getting into here. And wow, look at Gold Darren on the left, also over extruding that first feature, and also now looking like he's maybe moving on. So wow, this is so interesting to see these guys and how they kind of think through these challenges. But yeah,
This
Ricardo
cut you're talking about is going to be very challenging.
Ricardo getting that geometry for the spherical cut in place, yeah, you would think that it would be pretty challenging, but it looks like he's going to be making some short work of it. It's always good to practice and learn how to make spheres in 3D CAD because they do come up a lot in engineering.
Wow, look at the way Ricardo's doing this is impressive. It just okay. Wow, he went straight to the cut, to a revolve cut. Okay.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Let me kind of zoom into him. Yeah.
Straight,
no, sorry. Yeah, revolve cut.
Straight to that revolve cut. Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. You know, I wonder if, you know, that plasticity program, from what I understand, is pretty good at surfacing, right? And so is it a its own CAD software, right? Plasticity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is it a plugin as well for like SolidWorks?
I think it's an export. I think it's an export-import process.
Okay, gotcha. Because I've always wondered, you know, I would like to use a program like that maybe to make things like this really, really sexy.
Yeah.
Because I think in you know all these mainstream CAD programs, it's still pretty hard to get something to look really elegant, you know.
Yeah, I would love to see a plasticity demo on this. I mean, they do a lot of times. We do see plasticity users doing tutorials from some of the Too Tall Toby models. So maybe once we get this one in there, we can give them a heads up. But wow, it's so cool to see both of the runners have got this ice scraper. They've got the main shape. They've got the side cuts. Now Ricardo Jean going in and creating this kind of I mean, I guess he's using a rib feature, it looks like there. I don't know what you would call it. I think I called those, I don't know, I call them the scraper things. I don't know what they were called, but it's kind of an interesting feature. Like when you have a shape like this where you've got a pattern, but it's not just a straight pattern because the wall thickness, you know, the wall thickness at the bottom is different. That curved face at the bottom is different. So you can't necessarily just do a pattern, and as well as the fact that he's working from the middle out. So it's going to be really interesting to see how both of our runners handle this, but looks like he was able to get that first.
This is where I was when I saw this. When I saw those what you call ribs, I guess. That's what I noticed that they were not, you know, all the same geometry, you know.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tricky because, you know, I love the rib tool. It's one of the greatest tools that SolidWorks has. Actually, I don't see rib actually an equivalent of rib in like a lot of other CAD software like SolidWorks. So that's I think actually Onshape does too, right? But just in general, rib is so useful for any sort of thin feature. And oh, it looks like do you
see what he did there? So Ricardo decided to do that decided to do it as a multi-body, and then he patterned the body and combined. That was interesting. So Ricardo coming in with his answer, and his answer here is 102.63 grams. And guys, that is correct within tolerance. The correct answer is 103 grams plus or minus 0.5 grams. And holy smokes, in under 8 minutes, Ricardo Jean was able to construct that ice scraper following all the dimensions on that drawing. Really, really surprising to see how he handled that rib at the end, but he decided to do it with multiple bodies and then bring those bodies together. Wow, wow, wow. That was interesting. It looked like
Darren was doing well too. He was actually in the process of doing that too.
Honestly, it looks like I'm going to say that I gave that thing an over tolerance, because if you look, Chris, Ricardo got really lucky with that one. It looked like he was missing a full rib there.
There is one rib.
Yeah, it looked like he was missing a full rib, so somehow he got really lucky to be within tolerance there. Maybe I over tolerance to that model. I was really focused more on the spherical cut when I was examining my tolerance range than the individual ribs. But Ricardo, man, lucky ducky getting through there, squeaking in there. I think he was at 102.6, and the bottom end of the tolerance was 102.5. So. Wow, but good job, guys. Very nice to both of our runners. Yeah, missing 2 of the ribs, exactly, yeah. Ribgate, #Ribgate. We got more controversy coming through. Let's go.
Good old controversy.
Yeah, we love the controversy in this tournament.
But you know what? You just made me realize something that's like a key feature of this contest is that there's going to be a point where strategically you're going to need to go in maybe sometimes prematurely because of you know, maybe understanding that tolerance value or understanding like how one feature dominates the overall load, or the mass. So this is really next level stuff, actually.
Yeah.
Because as you pointed out, the lack of those two ribs was within the tolerance. However, if there was a mistake with the overall shape of the tip, or whatever, the scraper part of it,
Yep.
like the small radial dimension there would have blown your tolerance possibly.
Exactly.
So interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what makes it interesting. And we've even seen scenarios. I remember, I think it was 2 tournaments ago. I think it was one of our runners ended up making 2 mistakes. And somehow those 2, one of them like added mass and one removed mass, and they got like, like lightning in a bottle, super lucky, and ended up actually getting the correct mass. So kind of interesting here. I'm going to flip back to the CAD vs. CAD. RICARDO looked like he did end up fixing it now, but he ended up having a little bit of extra geometry sticking out on the sides as well. So always the professional there getting through and getting that cleaned up. But wow, very, very interesting model. A lot of times I'll go in when I'm trying to get the tolerancing range just right, and I try to think about things like, is there any ambiguity? Are there ways that you could maybe solve this in more than one way? Is it going to be different from one CAD system to another? So all these things kind of have to be factored in. And in this case, it's good. I'm going to add this drawing to the library at tootalltoby.com, and I'll tighten up that tolerance a little bit so that you can't get away with that as much. But the Wheel of Fate has spoken. The tolerance has been set, and I want to say GG to RICARDO Gene for earning that first point. Of course, you have to win 2 points to move on, and Darren is clearly here to play. He definitely was hot on his heels. This is Darren, newcomer to the tournament, going up against the world champion at 3D CAD speed modeling. So really awesome to see these battles here from these guys. And let's return to the Wheel of Fate here and see what it has in store for our next battle. So we're going to go back to Plasticity. Thanks again so much to Plasticity. Thank you to all of our sponsors, of course. And guys, let's shuffle this thing up a little bit. Is it going to be drawing number 12 or drawing number 8? Well, I got to say, Chris Castle, knowing what both of these drawings look like, we are in for a treat regardless of which drawing comes up. So good luck to both of our runners. Good luck to everybody in the chat. Everybody thinks it's either going to be 8 or 12. Good luck to all the clairvoyants out there. And here we go. Here we go. Let's hit it here. Is it going to be 8? Is it going to be 12? Either way, it's going to be an awesome model. So I can't wait to see what it ends up being. Okay, fantastic. So GG to RICARDO for taking down that ice scraper. And now we're going to move on to drawing number 12. So we'll remove that. Now, just in case neither of our runners can solve this one, we have one more drawing that we can use in case there's a final push or anything like that. So that's always good as well. And of course, I want to say thank you so much to Plasticity for sponsoring the tournament and sponsoring the Wheel of Fate. And I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, including our friends over at Xometry. I want to remind everybody that you do have the ability to save 20% on your first order from Xometry. You can visit xometry.com and you can use their instant quoting system. And on your first order, you can use coupon code Toby20CAD. And that way you can save 20% when you're trying to take your 3D CAD models and turn them into physical real-world parts. And so with that, maybe you can tell us just a little bit more about these runners, Chris, as the production team is getting the next challenge ready.
Sounds good. So Darren makes small custom cables. Interesting. That was one of my first jobs. Oh, wow. In the UK, I bet they're custom cables for the automotive industry, maybe. Interesting. In RICARDO, his brother and father are both also SolidWorks designers. That's pretty awesome. Cool. I bet they work in the aviation industry in Brazil.
Nice.
Maybe.
Nice.
And he's both Brazilian and Italian. Oh, no wonder.
Yep. Okay. Brazilian and Italian.
That's why all this. That's why he's so impeccably dressed all the time.
Yep.
And he's been using it for 19 years. That's pretty amazing. Cool. He looks like he's 21.
I know. He looks so young. Yeah. Well, it's been so awesome to have these runners in this tournament. And guys, if RICARDO can win this next point, then he's going to move on to the semifinals. If Darren can win this next point, then we all win because we all get to see yet another battle between these two wizards. So we've got Darren from the UK running Fusion. Actually, I should ask you first, Chris. Are you ready for this next battle?
I'm so ready.
I'm ready. I think the audience is ready. Guys, this next CAD battle featuring Darren from the UK, our number 7 seed running Fusion, going up against Ricardo Jean from Brazil. He's a 2-time tournament winner. He's the world champion of 3D CAD speed modeling, and he's going to be running SolidWorks. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins. This CAD vs. CAD battle begins in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XX.X pounds? The tolerance on this one is plus or minus 0.1 pounds. Now, this is an interesting one. It's a fireplace grate, and you can see here that the angle of those legs is all different. You got 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, but they all start out along a max dimension on the back side, and they all start out along a max dimension on the front side. So our runners are going to have a lot of work cut out for them. You can see in that detail view in the lower right that they share the same radius, they share the same angle, but what's different is the length of each of these is a little different because of the angle looking down from the top view. So let's jump over to our CAD vs. CAD battle and see how our runners handle this challenge. So we've got Darren on the left running Fusion. We've got Ricardo Jean on the right running SolidWorks. And both of our runners are kind of taking their time and trying to figure this thing out. I think that, again, if we were to kind of discretize this model, Chris, we would say that there's a section where you've got the legs that are on the bottom, and then you've got those grates that are running across the top. And I think that, I would probably pick one of those 2 areas and use that as kind of my starting point for this design.
This is the one that I saw out of the whole lot that I had hoped was the final or the last model. So this is perfect.
This is perfect.
Again, I look at these. I'm competitive. I always think I can compete on this level. I think as far as methods go, I have a pretty good idea how I'll go about modeling something like this. But again, to get an answer quickly, it's maybe not the way to go, right? Because there's several ways to just go quickly and get this done. I saw Darren do something earlier where on the snowplow, he had modeled the shaft, but then he started to model the handle on the side. I think he was very aware that he didn't necessarily have to have them in the right place to get the right mass.
Exactly.
So that was clever. Very clever.
Yeah.
So with this one, however, because I think you're going to have to drive the length of the upper rack with some reference geometry. You're gonna have something driving it. You can't quite do that. You have to get it right.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's how some of them are. Whether it's all a single body or single, uniform material or multi-body. I mean, we've seen our users, even though sometimes the parts look like they're single body, they've decided to go with some multi-body techniques, and that's fine too. But regardless of whether they use single body or multi-body, some of our models you could model the 2 separate parts completely disconnected, like you said, the snow shovel handle and that tube. Darren modeled them totally separate, and that would be fine. You could still come up with the correct mass. But then when you see a model like this, where all the features are related, where the angles and the 3 inches off the front and 3 inches off the back are defining the length of those crossbars, now you really have to learn how to model your parts together. So this is a really fun model. This is the Fireplace grate, and definitely a cool model, and definitely a good way to stay warm in the winter. Get a nice fire going in the fireplace.
Definitely. So when are you going to model a what are they called, solo stove? That fancy stainless steel stove.
Who knows? Maybe it's coming.
They seem to work well.
Yeah.
Oh, we got our first pattern here.
Yeah, we see Darren. I didn't see who drew first blood officially. We do see Darren got that pattern in, and then we see Ricardo got that pattern in right behind him. So interesting to see, Ricardo taking an approach here where he looks like he's planning on leveraging some of the symmetry, and now we see he's drawing in those. Look! It looks like he's using an angled rectangle of some sort, looking down from the top. Very interesting. Okay.
Interesting. I've seen so far they both have sketch the full profile of the member, of the bent member. So it's interesting. There's a lot of different techniques here.
Right.
You may think of people sweeping things and maybe thin featuring things, but it's really it's interesting because they're fast. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm always on edge thinking
speaking of going, and speaking of going fast, it looks like we've got an update here in the chat from Boxley and Production. Says, remember, Darren is doing all this while riding a motorbike.
And with one screen too.
Very
right?
impressive. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is really impressive. He's taking it up to the next level. Wow. So it looks like Ricardo laying out those 3 inches from the front, the 3 inches from the back, and then has looks like he has sketched in some rectangles and then getting to his angles here. Okay. Interesting. Cutting the angles in half, it looks like. All right.
Okay, yeah.
I like it. I like it.
It's different. It's different. God, you know, it's really, and again, I think that's why AI can never do what we do, because there's true creativity in going about these techniques. There's, you know, you can, I saw a video the other day of an app that's called, oh, I can't remember it, but it basically takes a whole bunch of, if you give it a whole bunch of images, it will construct the 3D geometry based off of the image map. But it's very crude, right? And it's like, it's not parametric, you know, it's very dumb. But to truly actually make engineered parts that you can, you know, and remember what is the definition of design? It's not just drawing something. It's not just making something look right. It's making a design that is easily modifiable so that you can figure out which combination of those numbers makes it as strong as possible, or as, you know, as durable as possible, right? So if you don't have
sometimes
a model
aesthetically pleasing as well.
Yeah, and if you can't quickly make changes and have those changes propagate without breaking something, you know, you haven't really modeled. You're not a real designer.
Wow,
right?
interesting. So Ricardo went through there and added in some planes. He really added them in quickly. He must have done like line angle for those planes, but he ended up creating those 3 planes running down the center. Wow, that was
very
interesting. Yeah.
So he basically used that geometry really just to kind of create planes so that he could maybe draw on each one of those and you know, create each one of those members individually. So that's interesting. Yeah.
And we see Darren is using, I wasn't sure what approach he was using. It looked like he had gotten something in there and was getting that geometry extruded up to that 1 inch, kind of like creating the lower bar. Yeah, see there, he's got that kind of like lower section of the bar. Now, what's he going to do with that? Is he going to bend it up? Is he going to extrude coming off of that and then add in, you know, we'll see what he ends up doing. And
it's pretty brute force. This is a very brute force way of doing it, but it might work.
Yeah, this is cool. This is where we're really starting to see some deviation here, and where Darren is taking one approach, and Ricardo Gene is taking a different approach. This is really, really interesting. And so we'll see which method pays off, man. This is what we're here for. This is what we signed up for.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what those different heights are? I mean, that's the challenge with this drawing. It's, you know, you have these, it looks like it's a relatively simple drawing, just a few dimensions on it, but it's like, it's the, you know, it's the devil's in the details type of thing. Like, how do you figure out where those different heights are actually supposed to be?
Yeah. And as you know, what's pretty obvious right here is they're both modeling what in reality is, you know, a multi-body or multi-part, you know, object in the context of a single part environment. So that's, you know, this is what's really good about your channel, is that I see, you know, doing tech support all the time and helping people learn SolidWorks. It's crazy what you see, and what you see a lot is people making lots of individual or making elements in their own part file and then trying to assemble them and put them together to represent the final product. But you need to know how to do multi-body part design. And because, for example, those top rungs make contact with the lower legs, right? They're just coincident, essentially, right, on the surface, right? So if you're in a single part environment and you're not aware of like merge result and that upper leg is now merged with the bottom legs and now you have one solid body, well, it makes things difficult. Like if you want to fill it later, or, you know, you got to be aware of when,
like, as you're saying that, it's like what Darren's running into is that
he
had that fill on the bottom, but
coincidentally,
it looks like he did do it with multiple bodies. Like I can see the bodies there in the tree. So yeah,
it's very interesting because, you know, people forget sometimes when you have a multi-body part and you try to apply a fillet to, say, a whole bunch of edges at one time. Well, guess what? They better be all one body. Otherwise, it will not work. At least not in SolidWorks. I think it does in Onshape, though. I think Onshape you can do just a whole bunch of selection of edges and hit fillet, and it will propagate those to the body level.
It doesn't care if it's multiple bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is interesting, like how, and Ricardo's an old pro. I think, you know, stuff like that, like merge results, stuff like that doesn't really, it's not something that's like he's worrying about, because he's already modeling it in a certain way that, you know, he's not reliant on things merging. By the way, another really good tip for people, if you are going to do a lot of multi-body stuff all the time, I highly recommend that you create a part template. If you're using SolidWorks, at least, if you're using SolidWorks and you have a template for your parts, make a multi-body specific part template. And on the very first feature of that tree, turn on the weldment or add the weldment feature to that tree. And everything you do, every feature you make on that part will automatically not merge to the other bodies. And I find that extremely useful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, multi-body design in SolidWorks is pretty awesome. I mean, I used to teach a lot of classes on how to use multi-bodies to figure out inlays. You know, like on that space heater example earlier in the tournament today, that grill, right? One of my favorite tips or favorite tools in SolidWorks is called indent. Indent is one of the best Boolean tools out in the CAD game right now, because it not only can cut, not only can you cut with it or thicken material with it, but it gives you options for clearance, and it allows you to keep your tool body, you know, whatever you're using to cut or make your feature. So anyway, if you haven't ever heard of the indent tool, check it out. It's seriously one of the best tools in SolidWorks, and something that I'm sadly don't see often in this tournament.
Aaron C would love it if he was here right now. He loves indent. It's one of his
he
favorite,
does.
It's one of his favorite commands too.
That's right. Aaron is one of you guys that has used it. That's true.
Boy, this is so interesting how both these guys.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
Both these guys are getting really hung up on this model, and it's you know, I wish I could have them watch this recording back and then commentate on it. It'd be really good. And I'm trying to pay attention to the chat. I see a lot of the chat coming in. I apologize. I know I'm not giving the chat that much attention, but I'm just really focusing on what these guys are doing. And you know, it's so interesting to see how both of them are trying to figure out their odd design requirements. You know, what kind of a design requirement says, here's the max depth. I want everything to line up to the max depth. But if you think about, you know, so 3D Wing in the chat says, what tier is this model? I thought you said, what is this model? It's a tier 5. It's only a tier 5, believe it or not, only. It's a tier 5 model.
It was tier 6. Oh, that was a tier 6.
And then, you know, but like what this thing is it's a grate that you would put in a fireplace. And so in that scenario, you wouldn't want some of these crossbars to be sticking out further than the others. You would want them all to be the same. So when you put it in the firebox and it goes up against the fire brick, you know, in the back of the fireplace, that it stops altogether. If one of them was sticking out further, then you're more likely to chip that brick. You know, so there's a reason why we want these all to end at the same location. But then the question becomes, well, then how do you figure out how to actually put that into 3D CAD? And that's where things get interesting. Looks like Darren's screen went black here a little bit. I don't know if he jumped into a different mode or what exactly happened there.
So I got there's an interesting question in the chat about MATLAB. So who asked it exactly?
Yeah.
It's, let me see here. Moment Arm. Does anyone use MATLAB to do CAD drawings? Interestingly enough, I used MATLAB earlier last year for a project. It's pretty amazing. I actually happen to use Grok or ChatGPT. I used one of those back then, but it helped me create the syntax that I needed to put into MATLAB to do what I wanted to do. And then I got MATLAB to work with SolidWorks by using an API that the guys over at CAD Sharp had put out a long time ago.
Shout out to CAD Sharp.
Yeah, really cool guys. And it just, so yeah, MATLAB is powerful, and you can create variables, or you can create an interface in MATLAB that could drive your dimensions in your SolidWorks model. So that is an opportunity.
Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties here.
It's rare to see RICARDO get slowed down, and I would imagine the tolerance on this part is probably not that forgiving, right?
Yeah, we'll see.
Because I could just see with these, if this is, you know, this heavy of a material, you make that little thing a little longer.
Yeah, you might bump yourself out of spec.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I see Darren's screen. Darren, so give me a sec. I'll try and fix it. Okay, it's all good, man. You keep modeling. If it's something easy, you can bring yourself back. If not, you can just keep modeling and enter your answer, even if you're not showing your screen. As long as you enter your answer correctly, we'll be watching it. We know that you're legit.
So. Oh, Gilbert Cornelson says that he's got it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
our first person in the chat saying they got it before the runners.
I really hope that other people are trying this one, because this is one that I think everyone should learn how to do, this model, because it would teach you so many logistical skills and SolidWorks.
I completely agree with you. I mean, we're definitely going to add this to the library, and we're gonna do it as a tutorial as well. I know that I modeled this in both SolidWorks and OnShape to help audit the challenge today. And I completely agree with you. As I was going through and modeling it in each CAD system, I was like, wow, there's a lot of cool stuff in this model that could be beneficial. Like, there's a lot of really interesting steps that you run into, even starting from the very beginning. In the very beginning of the model, the foot that's on the left and the right has a flat on it. It's like it comes down and then it goes flat. And so, like, deciding how you're going to do that, like, even just that one single decision right in the beginning is really interesting. But then certainly, we got a mask coming in. Hold on. I saw a mask come in from Darren.
Oh, yeah.
So Darren comes in 67.7 pounds. That is not correct within tolerance. Not correct within tolerance, Darren. So you've used one of your answers. Yep. You've used one of your answers. And so be on the lookout. We're going to keep an eye on the chat. Take a look through your model. See if you can't figure it out. His answer was 67.7. I guess it's let's see, rounded to the nearest 0.1. So it's 67.8 technically. But either way, that is not correct within tolerance. So Darren coming in with the first answer, 67.6. Sorry, 67.75, 67.8, excuse me. That is not correct. Not correct within tolerance. But keep going, keep going. If you can get it correct, even if you're not showing your screen, you'll still get the point, and then we'll get your screen shown so that you guys can go into the final battle. But be on the lookout. Ricardo Jean is hot on your heels. JP22 in the chat says, got it. Let's go, let's go.
So you see that there's that key feature at the end
sorry,
of the...
sorry, Chris Castle. Ricardo Jean comes in with his answer, 67.16 or 67.2. That is not correct. That is not correct. Okay, that is not correct. So both of our runners now have to look at their models. Both of our runners have gotten it incorrect. You're allowed to answer incorrect once. I can see on Ricardo's screen something that might be off when he rotated that forward. I think I might see something that looks a little bit out of line there. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe just a little something. But both of our runners are have now used one of their answers. You're allowed to answer incorrectly once, and then you have to answer a second time to get it correct. Or you have a second chance to get it correct, I should say. So both of our runners are we don't really know what Darren's doing. He's kind of in the dark right now, but he is still absolutely solving. So we're gonna watch both of our runners. We're gonna see them come in with an answer. Watching both of our runners. You see that Matavs has fixed it within 30 seconds. And we see Ricardo Jean coming in with his answer, and his revised answer is 69.52 or 69.1 grams. Chris Castle, the correct answer is 69.1 grams, plus or minus 0.1 grams. And so that is going to give Ricardo Jean the win. That is going to do it. Wow. Congratulations to both of our runners. A really difficult model there. We see that Gold Darren in the chat was one of the first persons to come in and say GG back to Ricardo Jean. So a true gentleman, and was an honor to battle with you, Gold Darren. Thank you very much. He's got it already queued up there. Wow. You shall not pass. Was an honor to battle with you, Gold Darren. Thank you very much. Very cool, Ricardo Jean. And Ricardo Jean earns those 2 points, comes back from the face of adversity, almost got caught up in the bad karma from the Wheel of Fate, but managed to get around it, managed to overcome. And wow, Ricardo Jean, a well-earned victory, and very nicely done. And guys, put a GG in the chat for both of these wizards. They both truly are wizards here. And well done to both of our runners. Both of our runners, of course, are competing to try to earn a prize here from our friends over at 3D Connection. So put a GG in the chat. A good game for our runners. A good game from both of our runners for sure. GG to both of the runners. Congratulations. Well played to all of our runners today. And congratulations to Otse coming in off the bench and moving on into the semifinals. He's going to battle with Matab next week. And congratulations to Ricardo Jean going up against Dom next week. So awesome job to all of our runners. Awesome job to the Wheel of Fate. Thank you so much to all our tournament sponsors, including Xometry. You can visit them, xometry.com, and you can save some money on your first order with the coupon code down in the description. Thank you so much to Solidbox, our friends over at My Solidbox. Anytime you need computers for yourself or for your team, reach out to the team at mysolidbox.com. And of course, if you ever need any engineering consulting or training, visit mysolidbox.com. Thank you so much to 3D Connection, 3dconnection.com, our prize sponsor. And thank you so much to our Wheel of Fate sponsor, Plasticity, plasticity.xyz. Be sure to check out plasticity.xyz. And of course, thank you to you, Chris Castle. Man, it's been awesome having you in the booth again.
Oh, it's been good hanging here.
Yeah, I missed you, man.
I'm a little rusty. Obviously, I've been cooped up here like an engineer behind my desk, just working, grinding. But thanks for getting me out of my shell. I got to get out. I got to get on these more often.
It's so
thanks,
awesome.
Man.
Yeah, it's great to have you on here. It's great to have all your insights. I know everybody in the audience is always interested in talking about simulation, and hearing your insights on simulation is super valuable. So thank you for that. And really fun just co-commentating and just watching. You know, it's like we're at a match together watching two amazing teams, you know, battling it out. And really cool to watch all these runners today and to watch them with you, a fellow CAD expert. It's really fun to do the co-commentary. So
and thanks to you, Toby. Thank you. You've made this so much fun. This whole world is nothing without you, buddy. And you and Vicky work so hard. Like, I can't imagine how much work goes in the background.
Well, thanks
for
man.
all this stuff. And you guys pull it off. You guys always arrive, always show up and deliver. So thanks, man.
Well, this was a good one, man. It was good. It was good having you here. It was good having some controversy. Good having the Wheel of Fate issue. Thank you to 3D Wing coming in with some super chat as well, guys. If you have the means, we always appreciate the super chat, but we also really appreciate you hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel. These are things that are all really helpful. Sending it out to your text group, sending it out to your family, your friends, your aunts, your uncles, letting people know what we're doing over here in the world of 3D CAD and speed modeling. So thank you all so much. I want to remind you to please check out the website, tootalltoby.com. What you're going to find on the website is that we are going to be posting these models in the library. So if you enjoyed watching these models and now you want to give it a try yourself and you want access to that 2D drawing, you're going to be able to do so right here on the Too Tall Toby website. So be sure to sign up for a free account, and then if you start doing the challenges and you like them, you can upgrade and unlock the entire library. Be sure to check that out, tootalltoby.com. Remember, we do have some training for advanced part modeling coming up. So if you felt like you were looking at some of these challenges and you were just like scratching your head, like, I don't have any idea how to model those parts, well, you can sign up for that training as well over at tootalltoby.com, right at the top of the library. We're doing this advanced part modeling training, and that will really help you. Custom class that I wrote. So it's a custom Too Tall Toby class. And guys, beyond that, again, I just want to say thank you so much. Listen, if you want to compete against some of these guys that you saw today, you can join us on Model Monday Live. We do a competition where we challenge everyone in the chat to try to solve one of these 2D drawings. So join us for Model Monday Live. Visit tootalltoby.com/calendar, tootalltoby.com/calendar. You can get calendar reminders for all of our upcoming live streams, and you can add them to your your calendar with just a single click, and that way you'll have the link to the live stream, you'll have the date, it'll be in the correct time zone, everything you'll need will be right there. We see 3Duo says it's really nice to watch everyone using different techniques to solve the problem. We learn a lot watching these guys doing the models. Thank you to Too Tall Toby for this tournament. Yes, thank you. And thank you to all the runners as well for sharing their screens. They're the real stars here. And guys, we'll be back next week, next Friday, 1 p.m. East Coast. We'll be back. tootalltoby.com/calendar for the reminders for these live streams. And that's about all I have to say. Chris Castle, any final thoughts for the audience?
I would definitely make a point of going through that fire grate example and doing it till you get it right. That's all I can tell you.
Nice.
You'll learn so much.
Yeah, that is a really, really fun one, and you can learn so much from that one. So I completely agree with you. I'll try and get that one up there today so that everybody will have a chance to try it today in the Too Tall Toby library. And Chris, thank you again so much. Thank you again so much to the entire audience. Such a fun way to end the week. So everybody have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather this weekend. Get outside, get away from your screens for a little bit, and just enjoy the weather, enjoy nature, enjoy hanging out with other real humans in real life. It's always so important. And I will see everybody back here in the virtual world on Monday in Model Monday Live, and next Friday in the next tournament. See you, everybody.